Gogada or visit them at gogada.com. That's go, G-U-I-D-A.com.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
You're a winner this winter when you play Borgata's Winning Wonderland. From now through December 27th, earn entries in slot and table games for your stake in over $1 million in prizes, including 2 Mercedes G550s, each valued at over $170,000. Drawings take place every Saturday, with grand prize drawings on November 29th and December 27th. For details, visit theborgata.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
KiaofCherryHill.com is the destination for the hottest brand in automotive today. Come pick out the gas-sipping Kia of your dreams with payments anyone can afford. They have over 100 brand new Kias with MSRPs under $30,000 and over 400 new Kias to choose from, all of which come with the best powertrain warranty in the automotive business. 10 years, 100,000 miles. Go to KiaofCherryHill.com today and lock in your savings at KiaofCherryHill.com.
Give your holiday stuffing a delicious upgrade with Hatfield Recipe Essential Sweet Italian Sausage. Ground and packaged for easy use. Just open, cook, and mix into your favorite stuffing. Then bake up bite-sized stuffing muffins that are packed with savory flavor. Perfect for passing around the table or sneaking before the big meal. Your holiday inspiration awaits at simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield. Better care, better pork, better holidays.
Hi, I'm Judith Light. So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me. You're having another busy year. So much to do, so many roles in life to play. But you feel like you might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot. And before you know it, it's too late. It's not just the aches, fever, and chills that last for days and days. The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu. Being active and healthy alone won't protect you. The immune system weakens with age, making you more susceptible to the flu. If you're over 65, ask about your vaccine options, including one made specifically for us. An annual flu shot is the best way to help keep the flu away. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccine options for people 65 and older. Again, that's ncoa.org/flu.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Kathy Barnette on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
More than any time I can recount, people are talking about American identity and figuring out what it is that unites us. But I want to say something here. The only thing that has truly served as an anchor of the United States of America is that we have been, and by the grace of God, we always will be, a Christian nation. Now, I want to be explicit because, of course, the fake news media will twist everything that I say. I'm not saying you feel about them the same way I do. I'm not saying you have to be a Christian to be an American. I'm saying something simpler and truer. Christianity is America's creed. The shared moral language from the Revolution to the Civil War and beyond. Across that history, our country's major debates have always centered on how we could best as a people please God.
That is it. Hello, everyone. How are you? This is Kathy Barnette. I am filling in for Jimmy Fela, and I am just hanging out at the #1 talk radio station here in Philadelphia with my double good friend, Chris Tremolia, who brought in cannolis for me. Thank you so much.
Doing my Italian-American obligation.
I know, a real Italian brought me authentic cannolis. I cannot wait to take them back home. But guys, you're listening to I'm Kathy Barnette, filling in for Jimmy Fela, and I just wanted to open the show up with something that we know to be true. You know, I'm sure, like my social media feed, you guys' social media feed, if you spent any time on social media these past several days, were captured by all things AmFest at Turning Point USA. And we're going to talk about it. I have some really great people coming in who are going to help us kind of break down a little bit of where are we now and where do we go, what needs to take place. But, you know, there were a lot of finger wagging that went on during that AmFest, but there were some diamonds in the rough as well. One of them being our Vice President, J.D. Vance, kind of throwing down the gauntlet of who we are, because I think he's so right. He talked about right now, like never before, Americans are asking the question, who are we? Who are we? Because if you listen to some people, they say we are a land of just, you know, a global society. Or others, they say we are a bunch of differentiated souls. There's nothing really unique about America relative to the rest of the world. And then J.D. Vance kind of goes in and draws a line in the sand and says, you know, there's a lot of things we can say that will define our identity, but the one that has prevailed throughout our history as a country is that we are a Christian, not a Muslim, not a Hindu, not a Buddhist, not a whatever, not even a Jewish, but we are a Christian nation. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I think it was important that he says that because I do feel that over the years as liberals, Democrats, and left-wing politicians, pundits, you know, media personalities, they've kind of lost track of the fact that we are a Christian nation. Our, you know, a lot of our predominantly of our founding articles, our founding documents were, you know, inspired by the Christian faith.
Yes.
I mean, you know, if you look at the Declaration of Independence, endowed by our Creator, it mentions God, you know, through all the documents, and all the founding fathers regularly expressed that. So that's been muddled and, you know, kind of like been trying to be swept under the rug. They've been trying to the whole diversity thing, kind of like try to eliminate that, but overall, it's important for J.D. Vance to reinforce that we are a Christian nation, and we shouldn't be ashamed of it either. And it's welcome to hear him compared to the words of our former vice president, who I believe last year was saying, "How dare we say Merry Christmas?" Right? So It's a very welcome change to in the White House for sure.
By the way, Merry Christmas,
yes, exactly.
Everyone, everybody. Wasn't that Charlie Brown? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, and have you seen the Christmas tree that's outside City Hall, which the Philadelphia government likes to call the holiday tree?
No,
but as we know, it's a Christmas
tree.
It's a Christmas tree. And for whatever reason, they're afraid to call it a Christmas tree. But that's something Republicans and conservatives need to make sure we're reinforcing as well, that it is Christmas. It is your Christmas season.
Absolutely,
it is a Christmas tree, especially when you have a tree. It's a Christmas tree, so.
Words matter.
Yes, indeed.
Words matter. And I know there are so many really great people, good people. You know, we just want to mind our business. We want to go to work. We want to pay our bills. We want to raise our children.
No more.
And we don't want to get caught up in the semantics. And if you want me to say tomato instead of tomato, I will say tomato. Many of them will say, right? But hopefully we have learned some things, that being polite is not the way to go. Being polite, these people there are certain people in our society who are bent on fundamentally changing our country. They are not content with being polite.
Truth.
With niceties.
It's not even about being polite. It's about just, historical revision. It's creating a false reality. Like for the city, and I actually contacted the city, and they gave me the most ridiculous excuse. They said, "Oh well, sometimes some people are putting up their trees right after Halloween and before Thanksgiving, and they keep them up till after New Year, so it celebrates multiple holidays. So that's why we call it the holiday tree." It's just the most ridiculous, absurd. You're afraid to say Christmas, and there shouldn't be a reason to say
America is a Christian nation.
Yes. And
if you don't like it, there's a lot of choices out there.
Exactly.
Let's see how you fare over there, right? So, but anyway, this is a Christian nation, and I just love the fact that our vice president kind of drew a line in the sand. I appreciated him. I appreciated Tulsi Gabbard speaking some truth. I appreciated much of what Vivek Ramaswamy had to say. There's some things I'm going to follow up with him on later on, but overall, I like that. But, there was a tremendous amount of finger wagging that went on, right? Stop being so divisive.
Yeah.
Are you looking at yourself in the mirror? So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. This is Kathy Barnette. I am sitting in for Jimmy Fela. Listen, call me. Y'all know how we do this. I want to hear from you. The call-in number is 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Call me. I will bring you on. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or find them online at retirereadyfg.com. And get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Hugh Douglas here. Make your tailgate holidays count with Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey at your local fine wine and good spirit stores. You can save $3 on 1.7-liter bottles of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, along with Tennessee Honey and Fire. Also take advantage of additional holiday savings with $2 off Gentleman Jack 750s and the new Jack Daniel's Coca-Cola Variety 6-pack of ready-made drink cocktails in a can. Stock up now at your local fine wine and good spirit stores this holiday season. Celebrate responsibly.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Everybody say, what's up, Pennsylvania and Delaware and Maryland and New Jersey? I've even gotten phone calls from people listening in from Tennessee, from Michigan. How y'all doing? This is your girl, Kathy Barnette. I am sitting in for Jimmy Fela, and you are listening to the #1 talk radio station in Philadelphia. And, quite frankly, Pennsylvania, because who's larger than Philadelphia? But nonetheless, thank y'all for listening so much. Here's the call-in number, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. And on the line is my new friend, James Lindsay. Hey, James, how are you?
Hey, Kathy, I'm good.
Good. Okay, guys, I don't know if y'all know who James is. You should. If not, you can find him out there on Twitter. What's your handle, James?
It is at Conceptual James.
Conceptual James. Yes. When I met James apparently earlier, but then, with time, I see him in this whole brouhaha out there on Twitterdom. And you're fighting James. And I wasn't really paying that much attention, a little attention, but not a whole lot. Because, I'm just trying to live my life. And then all of a sudden, I began to hear more and more what is happening in the conservative movement. It begins to almost feel as if it has nothing to do with me at all. I'm a conservative. I'm an ultra MAGA. I'm America first. You cut me, I will bleed red, white, and blue. And I'm all about this country. And yet, all of a sudden, the conversations I'm hearing from quote unquote conservative podcasters and the like, their conversation doesn't really mirror what people like me are thinking about or what people like me were fighting about in 2020 and 2016. And then I turn on the television and I'm watching Turning Point USA, America Fest. There were some diamonds in the rough, but there was a whole lot of finger wagging and a whole lot of bloviating and beating of chest. And I wanted to bring you on and get your take.
Yeah, I watched some of that too. And, I've been watching this develop for, a couple of years, watching this, what I think of as a radical splinter inside of the conservative movement and the MAGA movement, trying to take it down from the inside because they couldn't stop President Trump from the outside. And at America Fest, you had, Erica Kirk gave her strong opening and then immediately got followed by Ben Shapiro, who set the tone and said, listen, we've got conservative principles and we've got a bunch of these podcasters out here who are not following them, and set a tone for the entire event. And you watched them one after another get up on that stage, all mad at Ben. Ben brought facts, Ben brought figures and evidence, and he made a good case for conservative principles, for truth, for responsibility, for finding solutions to our problems, for backing President Trump. And they came out one after another and went after Ben Shapiro. I mean, Steve Bannon even called him a cancer. So you could tell that he got underneath their skin because he said the truth, and that's what the truth does.
One of the things that, I've spoken to you about this before, and I was thinking about it, and I jotted it down on Wednesday, and then Thursday with Turning Point USA unfolded. And the thing that I jotted down was that the thought struck me, the left, the political left, they build pipelines, they build infrastructure, they build systems that last for generations, that last beyond an election. The right, the political right, we build podcasts, we build audiences, we build platforms. And then once the election is gone and our side is not in power, that influence is no longer there. And then because we have no real systemic, pipelines, the left comes and just stick their foot on our throats like we saw in 2020 and beyond. And I saw a lot of that. We have a lot of political, not political, but high-priced podcasters who are the voice of our party. And I don't know if that is a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. What happened is after, especially COVID in 2020, and then all the crazy stuff with BLM and some of the other things that followed, we were all, everybody in America has to get their news, and we would turn on whether it was CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or whichever ones. We'd flip the channels, and we were getting lied to by the media. So we said, what we need, some different media. We need an alternative media. They call it the alt media. And we thought, if the real media is telling us lies, then the alt media can tell us the truth. And it turns out that that's too simple, because now what we've got is this army of podcasters who, like you said, they're the voice of the movement, but it seems like all they do is back up each other's shows, go on each other's shows, promote each other's shows, and promote each other's views so that they can all keep the same audience on the same page, which doesn't necessarily have to be telling them the truth. And it doesn't look like they've been telling them the truth for the last little while. It's easier to buy a podcaster than it is to buy CNN. And I think some of the enemies of America figured that out, and a lot of conservative podcasters have gone in a bad way.
And we've heard that. We've heard about, podcasters, conservative, quote unquote, conservative MAGA podcasters being paid off. And you're right. It's easier to buy off a podcaster for clicks and retweets than it is to buy off, for example, CNN. And we all know they're corrupt and running off of some other agenda. And and again, I wasn't really paying attention to it. I saw you out there doing the things that you were doing and fighting and saying what you were saying, but I wasn't really paying attention. And then all of a sudden, it felt like the oxygen in the room was being consumed with these petty little battles, right? And we were certain you would watch all of these podcasters and influencers, quote unquote, who are the voice of the movement right now. They're sucking up all the energy in the movement. And this movement is very powerful. This movement got Donald Trump elected 3 times. And so it matters when the energy in that movement is being consumed by pettiness and being consumed with people. Every time one of their friends get in trouble, you see them circling the wagon around one of them saying hashtag Team Susie, hashtag Ben, hashtag Tucker, hashtag Candace, hashtag Nick. And I'm like, no, hashtag me and my family, right? Like, my agenda is not for Candace. My agenda is for what's good for the Barnettes, and what's good for the Barnettes is a strong country, or strong borders, or boys being boys and girls being girls. What say you?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You look at what's going on in this country and in the world. We've got big things going on. Look how much stuff President Trump has done that's made such a big difference. And we don't hear about that. What we hear about is podcasters fighting with each other, podcasters criticizing him for the moves that he makes that are good moves, and distracting us from that conversation. It's like they keep us going round and round in circles around their gossip and tabloid stuff, and we're never talking about the real stuff. So we're not able to unify as a movement, as a conservative party, as a Republican Party around President Trump and the things that he's trying to do, or even to keep him accountable when he makes mistakes, because the man's human. So we can't talk about real stuff. You talk about boys being boys and girls being girls and keeping boys out of girls' sports. Well, we have a huge initiative running right now in Colorado by a grassroots organization called Protect Kids Colorado. And I don't work for them or anything, but I've seen what they're doing. They're trying to do a ballot initiative to get all these signatures from everyday Coloradans and get those signatures on a petition to get that on the ballot so that the people can tell the very Democratic state legislature, look, we don't want this. And if they can vote on it directly in Colorado, then they can bypass the state legislature. Well, I know this is a Philly radio show, so it's neither here nor there. But you think that, they just did this big fundraising campaign the last 2-3 weeks. You think some of these big podcasters, Matt Walsh allegedly ended gender ideology is what I heard. Well, they're having a big problem with it in Colorado. You think they could have stepped in and said, hey, there's this huge push happening. There's this grassroots thing. This is one of our biggest issues, this, boys and girls sports, the transgender surgeries on minors. If the other thing they're working on out there is sex trafficking. These are huge issues for conservatives. You think that they could have stepped up, but no, all they did was want to talk about Megan this and Ben that and the other one, all circling the wagons. And we're not talking about real issues anymore. We're talking about tabloid drama and lots of infighting that gets stoked up and then blamed on anybody who says, we've got real stuff to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I have my friend Chris Tremoglia, he want to ask you a question.
Hey, James, how's it going? This is Christopher Tremoglia at the Washington Examiner. We actually met at the Moms for Liberty Summit in Philadelphia, and we're both mutually friends with Kelly Shenicki. Wanted to ask you, and I agree with you 100% that it seemed like at least the first part of America Fest this past, it was like a reinvention of the Jerry Springer show. It reminded me of everyone kind of yelling and screaming and pointing fingers and ignoring very valid issues, the issues that you mentioned. I can't say that I'm personally familiar with the transgender issue that's going on in Colorado, but it's issues like that are still prevalent today. I mean, there are issues in Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia area that pertaining to trying to get this radical gender ideology still in schools. And I feel that these podcasters, and I'm a very big 100% anti-influencer. I've written many articles saying that I think influencers are just doing more harm than good. But for what that's going on now, what can be done, do you think, that can change all this? Because they talk all this stuff, how woke is dead and DI is dead and radical ideology has been gone for the Trump's executive orders. However, it is my belief that they're not gone. They're just in kind of like hibernation at the moment because, if the 2026 election goes, awry and it goes into the wrong direction, these things are going to come back. And especially in 2028, if there's a Democrat president, they're going to come back. So how do we combat this like influence the influencers have? And how do we basically, I guess, make influencers irrelevant again? Because I think that's really what needs to be done. People are tuning into this like it's like a 90210 type drama when they're, as you brought up, they're ignoring very valid, important issues in this country and very important, movements that, depend on a lot of American citizens are depending on.
Yeah, I think actually that you first of all, you touched on a key point, but secondly, I think you actually said the answer. The answer has to be that we've got to talk about the fact that there's these real issues. And, the one guy, Konstantin Kisin, called what they're doing over there Podcastistan, and nobody cares about these fights in Podcastistan anymore. It's all about them getting clicks and ratings and all this stuff, and it's just we've got real stuff. We've all got our own social media accounts. We've all got our own, a lot of us have like channels or places that we can write or get outlets. And so we got to talk about the real issues and simultaneously point out that, look, we're being distracted from the real issues. And like, Vice President, J.D. Vance said on the America Fest stage, he said, President Trump and my administration has put DEI in the dustbin of history. And it's like, sir, with all due respect, have you been anywhere in the country? It's in every, not just corporation still, usually under different names like Belonging or something.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and it's in every government institution. I hear from people that are like, even with the executive order, they've just hidden it.
Right, exactly.
And this isn't even with Democrats coming back in, and this isn't even talking about these blue states like, Colorado's very blue, but then you have these blue cities like Philly and then Pittsburgh on the other end of Pennsylvania, and pretty much all of Maryland, D.C. They've got real issues with these things, and we're not dealing with the left because these guys want to talk about all the drama between each other and raise their weird pet issues, whether it's Israel or whatever else, and drag us off into these distractions. And I think the answer to your question is, how do we get past it? Is we point out that what these people are doing is distracting us so they can get ratings, so they can disrupt the MAGA agenda from within because it couldn't get taken from without, and that hardworking everyday MAGA people and conservative people and Republicans and Democrats that care about this country and are starting to get worried about the stuff the Democratic Party is doing can all come together and actually focus on issues. And that leadership is actually going to attract people away from these these showmen. These some of them are con artists, but some of them are just personalities on a drama on the screen.
Vultures, more
Yeah,
like it. You know?
absolutely. James, thank you so much. Let me tell people who you are, who you guys have been listening to. He is an American-born author, mathematician, and professional troublemaker, his words. But I saw you out there, James. So Dr. James Lindsay has written 6 books spanning a range of subjects, including religion, the philosophy of science, and postmodern theory. He is a leading expert on critical race theory. He is the founder of New Discourses and currently promoting his new book, Cynical Theories: How Activist Scholarship Made Everything About Race, Gender, and Identity, and Why This Harms Everybody, which is being translated into 15 languages. Dr. James Lindsay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kathy. Have a good night and a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
to you,
Look, we can say Merry
Like
Christmas.
this,
Well,
yes.
I never stop saying Merry Christmas, first of all, but Merry Christmas, James. Blessings. Oh, righty. I love that.
I probably say Merry Christmas more now than I ever have been, just to kind of like prove a point.
You know what? I'm in stores and people are like, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was driving down the road today and with my dog, and this guy who was across the street was like admiring my dog and saying this thing. And just as we drove off, I was like, Merry Christmas to you. Just kind of making sure
I'm
to
just,
say it out
you
there.
know what? I mean,
everywhere.
I'm not trying to make it political, but again, I understand we have to start speaking truth. We have to start speaking
Absolutely.
our values. And they don't have to write laws to impose upon free speech if we just hand it over to them.
Yeah, or the fact that we focus on cultural stuff, which will inevitably eventually lead to the laws changing. I mean, if you like kind of get people into the culture of, I mean, I guess you say what, like make Christmas Christmas again. You kind of like could do that, and where people are not afraid to or hesitant, then that kind of like changes things in general.
Put Christ back in Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
I know. How about that? Guys, you are listening to Kathy Barnette, and I have my friend, Chris Tremogli, reporter and editor at Washington Examiner, in with me in the studio. Feel free to give me a call at 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210, and I'll see you on the other side.
Ever ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply. 10 app only.
Saw a t-shirt recently that said too much of anything is bad, unless we're talking about bacon. Now, we can debate that all day long, right? But the point is, portion control is a good thing. That can also be said about your retirement accounts. Too much risk, and you could get burned by a down market. Too conservative, and maybe you can't take that Alaskan cruise. Alan Cohen at Spectrum Wealth Partners understands portion control. He can build a retirement plan with a level of protection and risk designed specifically for you. And if you don't want any risk at all, he can do that too. Call Alan Cohen today for a free meeting to discuss it. 856-322-8686. That's 856-322-8686. Or online at SpectrumWP.com.
Advisory services offered through Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and Spectrum Wealth Partners are not affiliated companies.
Tickets to Joe Conklin shows make great holiday gifts.
Hey, this is Ray Didinger. I had the opportunity to open the Joe Conklin show. It was sensational. It includes all the impressions, Iverson, Merrill, and Mike, Barkley. He brought in the full orchestra. It's really good. His daughter Casey's part of it. His brother's part of it. They can rock it, boy. So you got all the music, plus you got all the comedy. It's a great night.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Broadway Theater in Pemmon, New Jersey, February 21st. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Oh! This Christmas, get a bonus AI Essentials course when you enroll in any My Computer Career IT program by the end of the year. That's a $3,900 value. Attend classes online or on campus. Enjoy lifetime job placement support and IT certifications in high demand. Go to mycomputercareer.edu today and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Conditions apply to AI offer, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
As a doctor, I see patients every day who are losing their vision and independence to age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. It's the leading cause of blindness in adults 55 and older. Some of us are at greater risk for AMD. If you have blurry vision or blind spots, they can be symptoms of AMD. If left untreated, it can lead to blindness. The good news? With early detection, AMD can be managed with effective clinically approved treatments that can reduce or even reverse some vision loss. Learning that you have AMD can be scary, but there's hope and help. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is researching and developing treatments and cures for AMD. To get your free AMD information packet, contact the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS. Join the fight against AMD, because together there is a cure in sight.
Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. WPHT.
What's up, Pennsylvania? How y'all doing? This is Kathy Barnette sitting in for Jimmy Fela. How are y'all doing? My husband is texting me, trying to teach me phonetically how to pronounce your name, Chris. I have Chris Tremolia.
There you go. Beautiful. Molto bene, molto bene.
Oh,
Very good.
see,
There
babe,
you go.
you did it, babe.
Yes.
Yes, I have Chris in here with me. He's a reporter and editor at Washington Examiner, and he says, Jenna Ellis, that he knows you quite well. How are you, Jenna?
I'm great, Kathy, and yeah, great to talk with you and Chris as well, because once upon a time I was a contributor to Washington Examiner, and I absolutely love the team there. It's a really great publication.
Yes, so welcome. Thank you so much for being on, and Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Jenna. Nice to talk to you.
Merry
again.
Christmas.
Yes, you guys know Jenna Ellis, Senior Policy Advisor for American Family Association and host of Jenna Ellis in the Morning on American Family Radio. Jenna, I was scrolling on Twitter, unfortunately, and girl, I saw you just popping up in my feed, popping up. You have so much to say about Turning Point USA and AmFest, and I just wanted you to come on and share some insight.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And what an open-ended question. And first of all, I just can't believe that it's been already over 3 months since we lost Charlie. He was such a dear friend of mine. I've known Andrew Colvett, his executive producer, for even longer, who actually used to represent me on media, again, once upon a time when I used to work for Dr. Dobson and the James Dobson Family Institute. So, you know, we all have kind of this rich conservative history and background. And, you know, that kind of ties in to my thoughts on AmFest, because, you know, so many people who I'm so thankful are coming into this movement because of Donald Trump and because they have seen how the woke, insane, socialist, at times utterly evil pagan leftists are not good for the country. They're coming in at a time when we as conservatives have been building this movement and have been helping, I think, create a more perfect union in America for a really long time. So there's a lot of history and tradition and thought,
right,
and you know, a lot of foundation. And so when you have this kind of clash between Ben Shapiro and then sort of that's calling for more principles and guardrails, frankly, and the clash, you know, between him and somebody like Tucker Carlson, I think what Ben Shapiro, the point everyone is missing, is that he's calling really for assimilation into conservatism, just like we would ask for our country. If anyone actually comes into this country legally, we want them to assimilate to American values, American tradition, American culture, what makes us Americans. And if we don't do that, we lose America to a different culture. And what Ben Shapiro is saying, and I fully agree with him, is that for all of these new people, as you know, enthusiastic and excited as they are about the movement, and I'm so grateful for that, they need to really understand the heart of conservatism and what exactly we're conserving, which is truth. And I think that has been lost, Kathy, to a lot of the, you know, kind of pop culture celebrity kind of view that has been, while there's been so much good about the MAGA movement and Trump, that kind of you know, sort of pop celebrity following, brand, merchandise, everything, that's kind of lost the undergirding of truth that has always defined the conservative movement. So I think that's really the clash.
Girl, you're speaking truth. I just want to say amen. Amen as you're talking. And I'm so glad you started off talking about Charlie Kirk, because I thought about him every moment, every day during this AmFest, right? Of kind of holding up a mirror. Like, is this what he would be doing and advocating and allowing, right? And we started off the show today talking about, playing Vice President J.D. Vance's comments about this is a Christian nation. There were a lot of diamonds in the rough throughout the weekend. And, but, again, there was a lot of tongue wagging and a lot of finger pointing that was going on. But you're right. Charlie Kirk was just murdered 3 months ago. October, right? October,
September.
November, December.
September.
And it almost and I said then, and Chris, you and I have talked about it so many times, it feels like we have sanitized that and sterilized it to where the emotions aren't so raw. I saw, it's like we moved quickly to brand it, to put his face on T-shirts, to make stickers, that we haven't really fully grasped as a nation where we are and what just happened.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
No, sorry. Yeah, you go, John. I'll come on after you.
Well, I think that part of the reason, unfortunately, that we moved on too quickly is because of the Candace Owens sort of conspiracy theories, right? And in trying to create this division under the guise of just asking questions, she's not asking questions. She's hurling accusations. And accusations don't cease to become accusations just because they're launched in the form of a question. And when this has been such a divide among conservatives, then people very quickly lose the raw emotion and also the revival and the truth that Charlie proclaimed more than anything, the truth of the gospel of Christ. And that's ultimately what conservatism and what America's founding, as J.D. Vance pointed out, is ultimately built upon, which is that truth. And immediately in the aftermath of Charlie's murder, we saw worldwide a revival spirit of people actually contemplating eternity and contemplating, maybe for the first time, policy in light of eternity. Like Allie Beth Stuckey said so well at AmFest, why do we care about policy? Because we care about human beings, and policy affects human beings. And this is why we understand that we are a Christian nation and why freedom can exist only in a nation that is built upon biblical principles, God's order, and the institutions he ordained, the church government, the family government, and a legitimate civil government. And so we have to get back to that. But I think part of the reason that we've gotten so far off is because in the aftermath of COVID, and when we all woke up, I think, very suddenly to the fact even more so that these institutions that are man-made are not trustworthy, we need to be asking questions, the rise of kind of the conspiracy theorist became even broader than it necessarily should have been. And so people don't trust any of the official narrative anymore. And so Candace, I think, has capitalized that in a way that has been very dangerous and very disillusioning and frankly very evil, in my opinion, because she's discounting what Charlie's life meant, why he died, where he is now in the presence of our Lord and Savior, and focusing on the revival. Now she's she's drawn a ton of focus away from that to herself and to all of this divisiveness that unfortunately you saw also on stage at AmFest. So some of these questions are good in terms of where's conservatism going, but I think we need to get back, as you rightly said, to the feeling and the processing of what Charlie's murder meant, what his life meant, and ultimately what eternity means for the believer and also for those who still need to reconcile their lives with Christ.
Yeah, I would actually agree with a lot of what you said there, and especially when you're talking about Candace. I would add that, I mean, I think, and you touched on this, so maybe I'm like kind of saying what you're saying as well, is that she did a lot of this stuff that I believe was self-serving. It wasn't for promoting the mission of TPUSA or Charlie Kirk or conservatism. It was promoting the mission of Candace Owens and the bank account of Candace Owens. And I think that one of the things that did happen is after Charlie's assassination, there was that revival. And I think that kind of got tainted and corroded with a bunch like these vultures that were kind of like, flying above and trying to pick apart TPUSA, and more worried and more concerned about being the next figurehead of TPUSA or the conservative movement, rather than kind of sticking to the mission and staying the course. And I think we saw a lot of that play out at Turning Point, where the AmFest, where it was kind of like a bit of an episode of Mean Girls turned into like a political convention. And so it's unfortunate, and I think we need to get back to basics, get back to the root of everything, to get back to what we were on November 1st to 2024, and kind of pushing for that. And we've lost sight of that in
How
the
do we
whole
get
way.
back, Jenna? Like, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is where I think that people are missing the point of Ben Shapiro's commentary, because I think his message, rather than being divisive, was a call back to first principles and a call back to what conservatism has been since even before America's founding. I mean, the truth and the principles of God's divine order haven't changed. He is the divine authority, and then the institutions that he created, first the family government, and then the church government as well, but the legitimate civil government, those things haven't changed. And so in order to look ahead, often conservatives are accused of just trying to conserve and looking behind us. I think we need to look above, and we need to focus first and foremost on the Lord and on that divine order and the authority that he gives to a legitimate family, church, and civil government, and the proper definitions of those things, which conservatives have always championed, the traditional values that are biblical, the proper and only natural definition of marriage and family, of parental rights, of children's rights. I mean, all of these things that have been the hallmarks of not only Americans, but of Western civilization. I mean, when we're talking about saving the West, this is what we mean. We're conserving ultimately Christendom, and we're conserving the truth. And those are the principles that our founders understood when they left England for religious freedom. This was the whole point, and why we have the Bill of Rights that secure our first freedoms, which is what we're doing right now, which is the freedom of association, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press. We're talking together about truth, and we can do that, but we also have to define reality. So Ben Shapiro, these ideas aren't new, then they're not his, and he's not suggesting that people just follow him. He's saying, let's get back from just the following of the cult personalities and the merchantment and all of these different ideas of conservatism that are really built on popularity contests. And let's remember first principles. That's how we get back to having a big enough tent, but actually a tent that has contours and boundaries, and people who want to come into that tent and especially want to be our candidates are actually vetted properly. And then when they go to office, then they will actually champion the values that we are voting them into office for.
How about that? I love it. I love it. Jenna, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me, Kathy. It was such a great time to talk with you, and keep up the great work.
Absolutely. How can people find you?
Thank you. You can listen to my show at afr.net. You can follow me on all social media at Real Jenna Ellis, and you can go to afr.net for American Family Radio to find your local station. I'm on Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 Eastern.
I love it. Jenna, thank you so much, girl. Talk about somebody being tried and tested and still standing. I love it. Jenna, thank you so much for the fight.
And Merry Christmas to you.
Oop, I think she's gone. Okay, awesome. I love it. I love it. I love having a Rolodex full of fighters. Because, boy, my oh my, it can be dark, but I believe there is purpose. And because there is purpose, there is hope. There is something for us to fight for and to stand. I don't know if it was J.D. Vance or someone who said, we know that we will prefer to die standing than, or to die standing and fighting for something rather than dying on our knees.
Right.
begging.
The problem now is that we're kind of more worried about dying on our knees listening to false prophets when we got to get back on the mission and that we're fighting for in conservatism.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so glad she started with commenting about Charlie, because I was actually thinking to myself, I am going to actively pray for Erica and for Turning Point USA. Not because I believe they alone are the answer, but because it's something when Charlie passed. I mean, it's so sad, but I think it's human nature that you really begin to understand and appreciate the work and the effort someone has, the seeds someone has sown.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate that
And
you
the
really
structure,
don't pay
too.
attention, right, in the structure.
Yeah.
And I mean, just this amazing organization that he's created that once he passed, you saw, as Jenna said, and as you alluded to, this revival coming alive. And when Jenna was talking, I was thinking how dangerous it is to be the person who steps in the middle of that revival and redirect all of the energy away from Christ and onto yourself. And I do believe that's what Candace did. She
Oh,
stepped
absolutely.
in the middle of that energy and that momentum and that revival and said, "Pick me, look at me,
Right,
look
pay
at
attention
me,
to
look
me.
at
Yeah.
me."
Absolutely. There was, I mean, how many vigils were being held regularly throughout the country for Charlie? I mean, even in Philadelphia, there was a vigil for Charlie Kirk.
And she stepped
Has
in the middle of
Candace
that.
Owens ever held a vigil? This is her dear friend, right? She's repeatedly said, her dear friend. Has she ever held a vigil, organized a vigil, attended a vigil, or she just held a podcast to constantly,
Podcast.
just drag down and bring attention to her?
And so that's what I said. I said to myself, I am going to actively pray for Erica, for her family, and for Turning Point USA. Not because, again, I think they are God or because they have all the answers or that they're going to get it right all the time, but there is something very good there. And I think that's what we want to do. Guys, you're listening to Kathy Barnette. I am filling in for Jimmy Fela. Here's the call-in number. Why aren't you guys calling? I know it's late. Call me, 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. Blessings.
Download to see if you qualify for Albert Instant Advance. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription is required for Instant Advance. Please see the Albert app or albert.com for subscription pricing. Subscriptions can be canceled at any time.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? You can get up to a $1,000 advance fast to pay for car repairs, bills, rent, groceries, whatever you need. Plus, Albert can help you find ways to save and give you a custom budget to actually grow your money.
Albert can get me up to $1,000?
Exactly. But they do more than get you up to $1,000. Albert is your financial assistant, helping you budget, save, and spotting you money in a pinch.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code SAVE to get up to $1,000 for your bills, rent, groceries, and more. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code SAVE to get up to $1,000. Use code SAVE to get up to $1,000.
Congratulations to Bradford White Corporation, honored as the 2025 Employer of the Year by West Michigan Works for their commitment to growing careers in manufacturing. Visit BradfordWhiteCorporation.com to learn more.
B101 is spreading holiday cheer throughout Philly. Tune in for the soundtrack to your Christmas season, featuring all the holiday songs you love. Christmas music all day, every day, only on B101, Philly's official Christmas station.
Got any gadgets? Get online protection. NordVPN has a ho-ho holiday deal just for you. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you avoid malware, phishing, and annoying trackers. Just a few taps and you're safer online. Let your gadgets sparkle with online security. Go to NordVPN.com and get up to 77% off plus 3 extra months. NordVPN.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Imagine actually feeling merry, bright, and genuinely healthy this holiday season. With Rescue, that feeling starts now. Going on today, the Deck the Hall sale lets you save up to 78% off on high-quality, research-backed natural supplements so you can feel your best. Enjoy every festive moment. Formulas are crafted with purity, potency, and real science behind every capsule. That's why customers rely on Rescue for their essentials. Powerful omega-3s, doctor-recommended cholesterol support, gentle but effective pain relief, advanced probiotic blends, and natural age-defying formulas that help you stay vibrant from the inside out. This season, give yourself the gift of feeling good. Stock up, save big, and step into the holidays with the confidence that comes from supplements made with integrity and backed by decades of results. Ordering is easy. Just go to res-q.com or call a Rescue product consultant 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, online at res-q.com for up to 78% off this holiday season.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
It's that time of year again. Hi, it's George Parenti, the lead dog at the Dogs and Cats Rules stores. If you're a pet parent like I am, you know that the holidays are just as important to our four-legged kids as they are to us. At the Dogs and Cats Rules stores, our goal is to make your holiday shopping easier. When it comes to getting the cutest Christmas-themed toys, collars, and leads, we have absolutely everything. That's Dogs and Cats Rule, now with 7 convenient locations. Shop small, shop local, shop family. Happy holidays from all of us at Dogs and Cats Rule.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Between email addresses, social media, apps, this, that, and the other thing, I can't keep track of all my passwords anymore. I've had to write them down on a notepad and store them in a safe place. I'm tired of having to reset my password and then get the verification email and then go in and change it. And then they tell me that it's not strong enough. Can you throw a few characters on the end? How about a money sign? Oh, don't forget the capital letter. It's got to be between 8 and 12s. There's too many consonants.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My name's Michaela. I joined the Army at 17. When I got back from Iraq a few years ago, I became pregnant and ended up homeless.
No veteran should ever face homelessness. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is working hard to end veteran homelessness by the end of 2015. VA offers programs to help eligible veterans stay healthy, find a job, and secure or maintain safe, stable housing. With a simple call to 877-424-3838, specialists can connect veterans to the services and support they have earned, regardless of their branch or era of service.
My life works now. I got help from VA, and now I'm on a mission to share these resources.
VA is here to help. If you or a veteran you know is homeless or at immediate risk of becoming homeless, call 877-424-3838 or chat online at va.gov/homeless.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony.
Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day.
Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Kathy Barnette on Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
And we are back. What's up, Pennsylvania? What's up, Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware? How y'all doing? This is your girl, Kathy Barnette. I am filling in for Jimmy Fela on the #1 talk radio station in Philadelphia, covering most of the Mid-Atlantic states. And on air, in the studio with me is my friend Chris Tremoya.
Oh, very good. Look at you. Bravo on that one. So
Reporter,
I knew you could do it. I
know, right? It just took like a year. Reporter and editor at Washington Examiner. Thank you so much, Chris, for being in the studio with me.
Thank you for having me.
And on the radio or on the phone is William Federer. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, great to be with you.
Yes, thank you so much. I called you the last moment, and I was listening to some of the speeches at Turning Point USA, and Chris Tucker Carlson spoke, and my first thought was, Bill, I got to get Bill Federer on. So thank you so much for making yourself available.
Well, hey, I'm honored.
Yes. For those who may not know, William Federer, I'm going to call him Bill, is a historian and nationally known speaker, best-selling author, and president of AmeriSearch Incorporated, a publishing company dedicated to researching America's noble heritage. Bill's American Minute radio feature is broadcast daily across America. And I came to know you, Bill, when I was in college and I read the Quran. I started reading the Quran and I really wanted to understand. And I stumbled, I don't know how I did, but I stumbled upon you. And the first video series that I purchased of yours and book is called What Every American Needs to Know About the Quran, A History of Islam and the United States. And my, oh my, I wore it out. I wore it out, Bill, because I played it over and over. It was so well researched, so easy to understand. And from that, I didn't even know I was an activist when I was an activist, because I held my first conference with the titled "Is Quran what does the Quran say about Islam?" And one of the central questions that I asked is Islam a mostly peaceful religion? And I got a lot of that from you. Let me just start there, and then I want to play 2 clips from the, actually, I'm going to play the 2 clips first, Bill, and then I will give the balance of the time for you to talk about it. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Can we play those 2 clips, please?
I'm not an anti-Semite because anti-Semitism is immoral. In my religion, it is immoral to hate people for how they were born. Period. And I would also call your attention to the very obvious prohibitions in the New Testament against killing the innocent. We are not, as Christians, allowed to kill the innocent. Period. We are not. And you see elaborate arguments on behalf of doing so or ignoring it. Oh, that always happens in war. Well, you're right. One of the reasons I'm not that into wars. But when it does happen, unavoidably, we have to say that's wrong. We have to say that. We have to acknowledge that was wrong. And I'm sorry for the extent to which I participated in it. Forgive me. Because killing people who committed no crime is immoral. It will always be immoral. And people who do it will be punished for it. And nations that endorse it will be punished for it. That's a fact. And you are seeing now a very intense effort to convince you otherwise. Oh, it's fine. They deserved it. Really, did their children deserve it? If a man commits a crime, do we kill his kids? I don't care if it's in Minneapolis or Gaza City. No, we don't. And if we do accidentally, we say, I am so sorry that we murdered someone who did nothing wrong, because it is murder. And to see Christian pastors make excuses for that is one of the most, and that's not a partisan question. That is not a political question. That is the only question that matters. Do we have the right to murder people? And the resounding answer that Christianity provides us is no. I don't get into the whole debate, I didn't even know the terms, dispensationalist, or whatever, replacement. I'm an Episcopalian, okay? I don't enter these debates, or was. My theology is super simple. I like the Beatitudes. Read them yesterday. I actually think, was it Michael reading them, some of them here? I think any honest person would say it's the essence of the Christian faith.
Okay,
and killing tens of thousands of children.
Pause there. I wanted to get to the section where he talks about, again, it sounds like a lot of conflating. Obviously, I think most of us would agree killing innocent people is wrong and we don't want to do that. But then he begins to splice together the people, the war in Gaza, Americans now here focusing on Islam and whether or not Islam is compatible with American values. And if we and starting to have that conversation, we had DNI director Tulsi Gabbard come out and say the number one issue facing America right now, the number one threat is Islam. She didn't say just jihadists. She said Islam. And Tucker came and said, no, we can't do that. It felt like a lot of conflating, but I wanted to get your thoughts on everything that I've said, sir. Bill? Oh, no, is Bill there?
Hello.
Okay,
I'm here.
yes. Okay, there you are. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you hear me when I said it sounded like a lot of conflating?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
what are your thoughts?
the person that can answer this is Muhammad. So he's the best Muslim that ever lived. His life is the Sunnah, which means the way or the example. And his life went through 3 stages. And we can't understand what's going on today till we understand these 3 stages.
Okay.
So he's born in 570 AD in Arabia. His father dies before he's born. His mother dies when he's 6. His grandfather, guardian, dies when he's 8. He's orphaned, taken in by an uncle, Abu Talib, who's a merchant, who takes him on camel rides, and he goes to different cities and hears about different religions. Goes to Persian cities where they were Zoroastrian and believed that paradise was filled full of virgins that would fulfill all the guy's desires. Lo and behold, that finds its way into his belief system. Zoroastrians believed in jinns or genies, like Aladdin's lamp, 1001 Arabian Nights. And then there were pagans in the area. In Mecca had a square building called the Kaaba, and inside were 360 different idols for pagan gods. And the most popular was Hubal, the moon god. And their calendar began with the first sight of the crescent moon over the desert. And they had a rock they thought had fallen from the moon. It's a glass impact rock where a meteor hit the hot desert sands and melted it into this brown glass. And the pagans kissed that rock for centuries, pre-Muhammad, and walked around it and bowed to it. Muhammad kissed that rock, and it got incorporated into his belief system. Some of the Jewish Talmud and Mishnah stories are incorporated into Islam. Even Encyclopedia Britannica said the gospel was made known to Muhammad through apocryphal and heretical sources. So Muhammad thought the Trinity was the Father, Mary, and Jesus. Nobody explained to him the Holy Spirit. And apocryphal, what's that? Well, that's the infancy gospel of Thomas, written several centuries after Jesus by someone who knew nothing of Jewish life. And so it's so filled full of errors that no scholar takes it serious. But the stories were floating around the desert. Muhammad heard them, and they're incorporated into Islam. Like Jesus made clay birds and clapped, and they flew away, and a playmate died, and he raised him from the dead. And then there was a religion named Manichaeism. A guy named Mani combined things from other religions. From his point of view, he was extracting the truth out of these different religions, but Muhammad was familiar with Manichaeism. A popular follower of Manichaeism was St. Augustine, until he met the guy and realized he didn't know what he was talking about, spent the rest of his life debunking Manichaeism. And so Muhammad was very excited about his faith. There was a movement that swept through Christianity at this time called monasticism or pietism, where if you really become a Christian, you should live in a cave as a hermit or be the desert fathers, where they build a platform in the desert, climb on top, bake in the sun, thinking they're getting holier. And so it was this. So Muhammad followed this example, and he went out into a cave to pray. Now he's 25 years old. He's working for a wealthy widow named Khadijah. She's widowed twice. She marries Muhammad. And so now he doesn't have to work, and he goes out to this cave and prays. And a spirit appears to him and squeezes him and commands him to read. He said, I cannot read. Spirit squeezed him a second time, said, read. He said, I cannot read. Spirit squeezed him a third time, said, read. He said, I cannot read. Finally, the Spirit sat on him, and he began to recite. And that's how the Quran came to him. He'd get these verses, he'd memorize them, and teach them to his followers. Now, the word Quran means recitation. It's an oral thing, because Muhammad was illiterate, and all of his early followers were illiterate. Then only the Jews and Christians were called the people of the book who could read. And so you think, how can somebody that's illiterate memorize these verses? Well, in Arabic, they had a rhyme to them, a beat, very similar to rap music. And so he goes back to his wife, Khadijah, and he tells her he thinks he's demon-possessed. And she sits him on her right thigh and removes some of her veils and robes and says, can you still see the Spirit? He said, over there. She sits him on her left thigh and says, can you see the Spirit? He says, and she moves some more of her veils and robes and says, yes, he's over there. And then she put his head under her shift, whatever that means, and said, can you still see the Spirit? And he said, no. And she said, well, it must have been from God, because it was embarrassed to look upon me without all my veils and robes on. That was the test that he used to decide whether or not this Spirit appearing to him was from God or not. Now, the Scriptures have pretty clear. Any spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus as the Christ is of Antichrist. Nevertheless, Khadijah takes Muhammad to her cousin, who is an Ebionite Christian priest of a heretical sect that said Jesus is a created being less than God. He suggests that this spirit appearing to him was the one that appeared to Moses. He dies. Muhammad's left with his spirit. And after several years, he goes into Mecca, 610 AD, and begins to make converts. And he only makes 70 converts in 12 years. And so he begins to get confrontational. And he goes to the Kaaba, tells all these pagans that their ancestors are burning in hell, and they consider Muhammad a disturber of the peace. So they chase him out. 619 AD, his wife Khadijah dies. It's his year of sorrows. He tries going to a city called Al-Taif. They don't want him. They pelt him with rocks and stones. So in 622 AD, he goes north to a Jewish city called Medina, Yathrib. And there are 3 Jewish clans, and they let Muhammad in as the first Muslim immigrant ever. And he presents his faith to the Jews, and they tell him that he is not a prophet in the line of the Jewish prophet. So he changes the direction of bowing from Jerusalem to Mecca. He originally had his followers bowing toward Jerusalem. Well, then he goes into the minority neighborhoods in Medina, and he organizes a following, like a community organizer. And then he gets involved in politics. And when his following gets big enough, he pressures the Jews to accommodate him and his followers politically by making a treaty. And then his followers in Mecca get confrontational. They get chased out of town. Now there are lots of Muslim immigrants coming to Medina. and the Jews are tolerant and let them in. And Muhammad allows them to rob the caravans headed to Mecca in retaliation for the Meccans chasing them out of town. So it's different than Christianity, where Jesus said, if they take your coat, give them your shirt. His was your victimhood. If they take your house, you retaliate, take their caravan. He gets verses from his Allah that he gets a fifth of the booty from robbing caravans. One of the verses says Allah has given you the slave girls as your booty. He tells his followers they can have 4 wives plus as many extra women as they take in battle, slave wives, concubines. And so the Meccans in 624 AD send 1,000 soldiers to escort their caravan, and Muhammad with 300 defeats 1,000 at the Battle of Badra. This amazing victory convinces him to be a military leader, and he fights in 66 battles and raids in the next 8 years before he dies. 627 AD, the Meccans send 10,000 soldiers to Medina to stop Muhammad from robbing the caravans. Muhammad digs trenches and potholes all around the city. It's called the Battle of the Trench, which renders the superior cavalry of the Meccans useless. You can't charge your horse and camel across a field full of potholes and trenches. They'll break their legs. So it throws off the battle strategy. Muhammad goes to some of the Meccans at night, bribes them, they slip away. Goes to some of the other Meccans at night, threatens them, they slip away. Then it gets freezing cold for a week. The rest of the Meccans lose heart and retreat. And Muhammad considers this a victory, that his enemies were cowards, and then he goes back into the city of Medina, gets offended at one of the Jewish tribes. The other ones keep their heads low, and Muhammad chases that tribe out of town. Now there's 2 Jewish tribes. He gets offended at the smaller one, and the big one keeps his head low and confiscates their property, chases them out. Now there's only 1 Jewish tribe left. Muhammad bottles them in their neighborhood. He's actually taking a bath, according to the Hadith, and a spirit appears to him and says, how can you rest when Allah's enemies are in your midst? He said, where? It points at the last Jewish neighborhood. After 28 days, they surrender. He brings them into the market and chops off their heads and sells the women and children into slavery. So within 5 years of Muhammad coming into the Jewish city of Medina, there's not a Jew left in the city of Medina. They were chased out, killed, or enslaved. So it's a 3-step process. Immigrate, increase, eliminate. Immigrate as a religious refugee and go into the minority neighborhoods and begin to organize a following and increase your numbers and get involved in politics. And then you have random outbreaks of violence that causes the previous inhabitants of the neighborhood to no longer feel safe, and they move out and they take over the neighborhood. And they do this neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, country by country, and there is a 1,400-year track record to see this in action. So within 5 years of Muhammad's death, every pre-existing culture in Arabia is eliminated. And then in 641 AD, you have Christians fighting each other in Egypt. Coptic Christians, the word Coptic means Egyptian, being oppressed by the Byzantine Christians. And the Muslims come in and offer the Coptics help to drive out the Byzantines, and they say, sure. They come in with Amir ibn Alas. They drive out the Byzantines, and then they stay, and they actually cut out the tongues of anybody caught speaking Coptic. They eliminate an entire language.
They use the Coptic to, so they help the Coptic get rid of the Byzantine Christians, and then once the Byzantine Christians are removed, now they turn against the Coptic.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If he would have gone into Medina and told the Jews, in 5 years there won't be a Jew left, those 3 clans would have made up with each other.
Yeah.
But because he picked on one, and then, so it's Al-Hakim is the Sultan in the 10th century that is the one who cut out the tongues.
Now, one moment. If you could hold on 1 second. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Bill, can you stay over?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, you're listening to the Kathy Barnette Show. Well, really, Kathy Barnette sitting in for Jimmy Fallon on the #1 talk radio station here in Philadelphia. This is so important. This is so important. Our attention span in our country has gotten so small that it is being used against us, that we don't understand history. But history is important. When you have Tulsi Gabbard, the DNI director saying Islam is the #1 threat in America, I think it's important for you to understand who it is you're dealing with and a 1,400-year track record of how they move. So if you don't mind, stay right there. Feel free to call me. I will, if you want to ask Bill a question, please feel free. 855-839-1210. We'll be right back.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415. Or find them online at retirereadyfg.com and get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Great news from Norristown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Sign and Drive is back. No down payment needed. Save it for presents. Your present should be a new Jeep Wrangler Sport S for only $299 a month. $299. Sign and Drive. NorristownCDJR.com. Just minutes from the King of Prussia Mall. Check out our online reviews. They're great. No fast talk here. 36 months, 7,500 miles per year includes loyalty while supplies last. 0 do-it signing. 477 doc fee, tax and license additional. Ends 1/2/26.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
Experience casino like never before at Bet365. Spin your way through your favorite games. Check out our awesome table games and face off against a real live dealer. And play exclusive games that you simply can't play anywhere else. New Bet365 players get a 100% deposit match bonus up to $1,000 plus spins. Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T&Cs apply.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
June Rodriguez, a longtime DJ at Bob and Barbara's Lounge, has been identified as the cyclist killed in a hit-and-run in Overbrook on Saturday. A litter of 8 newborn puppies was found abandoned in a shopping bag in a South Philly Target parking lot. And a big Powerball drawing tonight. The jackpot is for $1.6 billion.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more. Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-352-9239. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-352-9239. 800-352-9239 or biglou.com.
Now, you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, guys, I am back with Bill Federer. Bill, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. So I want to give as much time as possible to you kind of now threading the needle. Thank you so much for that kind of overview of history that most of us don't don't have any kind of awareness of. If you guys want to know more and kind of double click on the history that Bill Federer just shared with us, let me tell you what every American needs to know about the Quran, a history of Islam and the United States. It is amazing and so easy, so simple. The quality of the production of the video and audio is so great. You guys will be captivated by it like I was, but it is something I would strongly encourage every American who's listening to me to go out and get. Now, Bill, pivoting back to you, if you can thread the needle, why is the DNI director, Tulsi Gabbard, the one who knows all the secrets and where all the dead bodies are buried? That's her job, is to know the power structure, to understand where all the secrets are. She came onto a public stage and said the greatest enemy to America, not China, not inflation, not Russia, not the Ukraine war, not what's going on, is Islam. Help us thread that needle.
Yeah, well, after the Muslims conquered North Africa, they conquered Spain, held it for 700 years. They conquered Syria, which was the first country to completely be Christian, evangelized by the Apostle Paul. The name Christian first came from Syria until Caliph Umar conquered it. Turks convert to Islam. They conquer into what is today Turkey. Back then, it was the Byzantine Christian Empire. All 7 churches mentioned in the book of Revelation were wiped out. The Greek Christians begged the Catholic West Christians for help. They sent help. It's called the Crusades. Crusades end. Muslims surround Vienna, Austria, and then they conquered Constantinople in the year 1453, cutting off the land routes to India and China. That's when Columbus set sail looking for a sea route to India and China. So the word Islam means submission to the will of Allah. A Muslim is one who has submitted to the will of Allah, and they think there will be world peace when the whole world submits to the will of Allah. So it is the religion of peace. It's just their definition of the word peace is different than ours. Our definition of peace is different groups getting along. Their definition of peace is world Islam. It's sort of like Lincoln during the Civil War said, we all declare for liberty, but in using the same word, we do not all mean the same thing, right? When the North says liberty, it's freeing the slaves. When the South said liberty, it's getting rid of the North, right? It's the same word, but it means two things. So in Islam, the world's divided in two, the Dar al-Islam and the Dar al-Harb, the House of Islam, House of War. House of Islam is the part of the world that has submitted. The House of War is supposed to be at war because it's in the process of being submitted. Now, moderate Muslim, most Muslims are moderate. Moderate Muslims believe the world will submit to Allah later, maybe in the distant future, maybe in the end of the world. Maybe it's even figurative. And it's so far off, they really don't think about it, and they just want to live their lives. And they want to be friends with you, and they want to be family, and they're wonderful. The fundamental Muslim thinks the world is supposed to submit to Allah now. They're real excited. They want to help make it happen. But the dilemma for the West is the nicer we show ourselves, the fundamental Muslims view that niceness as weakness, and they take it as an invitation to attack. So the law of the jungle, weakness always invites aggression. Got a bunch of zebras. There's a lion, and there's a weak zebra. It's limping. Which one is the lion going to pounce on? Weakness invites aggression. And now we need to have some definitions. In Islam, it's wrong to kill the innocent, but define innocent. And so when you go through the definition, here's a verse, Surah 3:32, Allah loveth not those who reject the faith. Surah 48:29, be ruthless to the infidel, make war on the infidel, fight those who believe not in Allah. So innocent is a faithful Muslim. So the fundamentalist Muslims are just as happy to kill a moderate Muslim as they are to kill an infidel. So if a gang is moving into your neighborhood, you call the police, they show up and arrest the gang leader. Are you going to call the police again? Yeah. But if the gang comes in, you call the police and they don't show up. Worse yet, the gang comes to your door and says, we have somebody inside the police department. They said you called on us. If you do it again, we'll kill you. Are you going to call the police anymore? No. And so when the non-Muslim world shows itself strong against the fundamentalist ones, the moderate ones are happy to lean toward the West, enjoy the freedoms and the fashions and all the things. But when the non-Muslim world shows itself weak and sometimes even funds and sends money to the terrorists, then they use that to pressure the moderate ones to lean their direction. Does that make sense?
It does. So while it was something that you said in one of your books that yes, there are moderate Muslims, But one of the hopes, I guess, of the more radical Muslim is that as they begin to show the moderate Muslims that they are winning with violence and pressure and domination, then the moderate Muslim will become less and less moderate.
Yeah, yeah. And so when they see the biggest city in America getting a Muslim mayor, this is very energizing to them. When they see Reagan, I loved him, but when he pulled the rug out from underneath our U.S. Marines, when the Muslims blew up the U.S. Marine barracks in 1983 and killed 204 U.S. Marines, Reagan's response was to tuck tail and leave. Jimmy Carter abandoned the Shah. The Shah loved America. Right? Even the Cadillac Seville was made over in Iran. I mean, he was pro-West. Women had fashions, and it was progressive. But Jimmy Carter pulled the rug out from the Shah and let the Ayatollah take over. And then you have Biden leaving all these weapons for the Taliban. And then, so you go through, if the West, and so Russia would also be involved. And so you have and then the Christians are being crushed in the meantime. So, Bill Clinton funneled money through arms through Iran to arm the Bosnian Muslims to fight the Serbian Christians. You had, again, Reagan with arming the Taliban to fight the Soviets during the Soviet-Afghan War. Charlie Wilson's War, that Tom Hanks did a movie on it, and Sylvester Stallone did a movie on it, Rambo 3, and so you have both the Soviets and America arming and training different factions within the Muslim world for their political purposes, and the poor Christians get crushed in the crossfire. Anyway, so one of the things we see is that the Europeans are having one kid per family, maybe. But when the Muslim immigrants come in, they can have 4 wives, and they put them in different apartments. And they tell them to go down to the welfare office and say the husband's not around, and they get welfare checks. And the man visits the wives, and the more children they have, the larger the welfare checks get. And he's living like a prince with his harem. It's all paid for at state expense. I talked to somebody in Detroit. Same thing is happening here. And the average Muslim woman has 5 kids. And so they estimate by 2030 there will be a majority Muslim population in Europe, and they just vote in Sharia law. Pretty same in Canada. They'll just vote in Sharia law. And so
and in Australia,
these are trends that you just observe.
Right. Now, Charlie Kirk, over the past couple of days, more and more of his quotes have come out and more of his videos. One of them where he says he warned about Islam, saying Islam is not compatible with Western values. But what makes Islam so different from, let's say, Hinduism? Because we are a Christian nation, but we do not forbid other religions from coming into our country. What is it about Islam that make them not like other religions?
Right. So there's freedom for all religions in America. But Islam is not just a religion, because Muhammad was not just a religious leader. He was a political and a military leader. And so who are we to split their prophet? He was all 3. He was a religious leader, he was a political leader, and he was a military leader. And so those that want to follow him gravitate to imitating all 3. There's no command for the Hindus to make the whole world Hindu. There's no command for the Buddhists to make the whole world Buddhist.
But Christians,
right? There is a command.
but Christians are
there
commanded.
Is a command for Islam.
And Christians are also commanded to go and share the gospel in the world.
Right. So Jesus said, go to a town, preach the gospel. If they don't receive you, what?
Shake the dust off your foot.
Muhammad said, go to a town. If they don't receive you, what? Wage war on the town. One is voluntary. The other is involuntary. And, I hate to use the example, but you have a man being intimate with a woman. If the woman's will is voluntary, it's beautiful. If not, it's a crime. It's the will. So God made us as free will creatures, and he loves us, and he wants to have us voluntarily love him back. There's no concept in all of Islam that Allah loves you. So people say, well, Christians kill people. Popes had armies. I say, yeah, let's not compare followers. Let's compare founders. The largest religion in the world is Christianity, about 1/3. The second largest religion in the world is Islam, about 20%. And so let's compare Jesus and Muhammad. Jesus never killed anybody. Muhammad killed an estimated 3,000 people. Jesus never led armies. Muhammad led armies. Jesus never owned slaves. Muhammad owned slaves. Muhammad was a white Arab that owned black slaves. There are hadiths that said when he lifted his arms to pray, they'd see the whiteness of his armpits. Another hadith said that he's the white man reclining on the couch. Another hadith, the guy's donkey rubs up against Muhammad, and he said, I saw the whiteness of the prophet's thigh. Muhammad owned black slaves like Bilal, and the Muslims enslaved tens of millions of Africans in slave markets in Timbuktu.
Brutal.
Yeah. Jesus never married. Muhammad had anywhere from 11 to 22 wives. His youngest was Aisha, the 6-year-old. He had a dream 2 nights in a row of him marrying the 6-year-old girl, and it consummated at 9. Jesus never tortured anybody. Muhammad conquered Khaybar, and the chief wouldn't tell where the treasure was hidden, so Muhammad kindled a fire on his chest on the ground. Jesus did not permit lying. Muhammad permitted lying to infidels. It's called taqiyya. Jesus never forced anyone to follow him. He even said something difficult, and many disciples walked with him no more. And he turns to Peter, says, you want to go too? There's the door. Muhammad said, whoever leaves the Islamic religion, kill him. It's got a gang aspect to it. Jesus forgave insults. Muhammad avenged insults. A man made up poems making fun of Muhammad. His slave girls recited the poems. Muhammad conquered Mecca in 630 AD and ordered the man and his slave girls killed.
Now, let me ask you this, because time is running out. Let me ask you this. What you're saying sounds so not nice. It sounds mean. It sounds disagreeable and rude, some would say. What do you say about that?
Well, Jesus thought God was our father. There's no concept in Islam that Allah is your father. Jesus thought we're children of God. In Islam, Allah took no wife and has no son. You cannot be a child of Allah. Jesus thought we're made in the image of God. In Islam, Allah has no image. Jesus taught to have a personal relationship with God. In Islam, it's blasphemy to even want to have a personal relationship with Allah. He is unknowable. He is forever unknowable. First 3 centuries of Christianity, Christians had go through persecutions. They never lead an armed resistance. First 3 centuries of Islam, they conquered from Arabia to Paris, the Battle of Tours. One is inside out, the other is outside in. And in Islam, they have a verse. It's surah. It's the verse 572, and in book number 9, chapter 9, and it says, if anybody confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, the Christ, you've committed an unforgivable sin that will condemn you to hell.
But what does that
You
have to
cannot be
do?
any more.
But what does
You cannot
that?
be any more anti-Christ than by saying if you believe in Christ, you go to hell. So if there ever was a religion of anti-Christ, it fits the bill.
But what does that say to someone? Because we have a culture that has taught us to be nice, to be kind, don't be so disagreeable. And we see it with those who are illegal in our country, even violent criminals who are illegal. There are a number of Americans who find us removing very dangerous criminals who are illegals out of our country. So I can envision a world where people would say the things that you're saying, which are all facts and documented, and you do a great job in telling it, but that just sounds mean. What do you say? And especially in light of DNI secretary saying Islam is the #1 threat. What do you say when people say you sound mean?
You protect the innocent. I think it's wrong to have female genital mutilation on little girls where they cut off the part that has feeling. So the girls will never have an intimate feeling with a husband. I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to marry 9-year-olds. I think it's beautiful to let a girl grow up and fall in love and choose who she wants to marry rather than a 9-year-old being sold or being pushed into a marriage. I think that's wrong. When the Muslims, right now today, they're still enslaving people in Pakistan. About 4 million Christians are enslaved in Pakistan, making mud bricks all day long. I think that's wrong.
Let me ask you one more question. Let me just ask you one more question, and real short answer if you can. Why is DNI Secretary Tulsi Gabbard saying Islam is the #1 threat? Why?
Because they have a goal of a one world government called the Caliphate, led by one Muslim leader called the Caliph. And so where we believe in laws made from the bottom up, where the people have their will reflected upward in the law. They believe that law comes top down. And so Joram Chudare started Islam for UK, and he's got his wives, he's got his harem, and he's being interviewed. And he said, we've had enough of man-made law and demand a full implementation of Sharia law in Britain. So there is no concept of voting in Sharia countries. It comes from the top down. There is no concept of you passing a bill. No, it's all top down.
Is America
but we
really
in the West believe in a bottom-up form of government.
Right, but is America really in danger of becoming Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, Jordan? I mean, or Turkey? Are we really in danger of our government no longer being a representative government from the bottom up and being in danger of Islam taking over?
Yeah, well, when you look at Islam has driven Christianity off of two continents. So let's look at India. India was Hindu, lots and lots of gods. And then in the 7th, 8th century, Muslims come in. The Hindus invited them in and even helped them build some of their first temples. Why? Because the Hindus could not conceive of an exclusive religion. They're like, hey, we got lots of gods. Oh, another one. Come on in. Water's warm. They couldn't conceive of an exclusive religion that wanted to crowd out all the previous ones. Today, the woke America is so into tolerating everything that the mind cannot conceive that you could actually tolerate something that wants to kill you. And so they just, oh, come on in, come on in. And so, again, we have 1,400 years of history, plus we have cities in America with no-go zones. You have Paris.
Well, you can look at Europe right now. You can look at what just happened in Australia right now.
Yeah, and so and now with the Dutch, when they took over Indonesia, whenever they found an imam preaching jihad, they would arrest him. And they would arrest another and another and another. And after like a century of this, the imam stopped talking jihad talk, and they developed a moderate form of Islam that's been there for several centuries. And so it's the imam that sets the tone. And that's why it's not a hardware problem, it's a software problem. You love the Muslim person, you do not like the software of this jihad Islamic wanting to be like Muhammad.
So it's not the Muslim person, but it is. So it's not the person, but it is recognizing that this ideology, Islam is an ideology, it's a worldview, just like Christianity, it's a worldview of mine. I see the world through the lens of Jesus. And so it's my worldview. It tells me how I am to operate in the world around me. Likewise, Islam is a worldview. It tells them how to operate in the world around them. And so what we're saying is that this ideology is incompatible with a republic, with a democracy, with Christianity, with our values. And we have to say that out loud, and we have to not be afraid to say it out loud. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah. There's a great quote from Eisenhower. Communists are coming in the 1950s. He says, no group can use the Bill of Rights as a privileged sanctuary from which to wage war to eliminate the Bill of Rights. You can't say, I want freedom of speech, but your goal is to set up a communist government that will not allow freedom of speech. You can't say we want freedom of religion, but our goal is to set up a form of government where there is no freedom of religion. And so it's a software problem, not a hardware problem.
I appreciate you so much. Let me just say, out here on YouTube, Carla Jenkins says, excellent interview. Could you please tell me the man Kathy is interviewing? Carla, I am interviewing William Federer. He's a historian and nationally known speaker, best-selling author, and president of AmeriSearch, a publishing company dedicated to researching America's noble heritage. How can people find you, sir? AmericanMinute.com.
And the book that I've talked about is called What Every American Needs to Know About the Quran, A History of Islam in the United States. And one verse that it says, Isaiah 61, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he's anointed me to heal the brokenhearted. There's no concept in all of Islam that Allah wants to heal your broken heart. the God of the Bible wants to heal your broken heart. And so to all the Muslims that are listening, the God of the Bible loves you, and he cares about you, and he wants to spend eternity loving you, and he wants to heal your broken heart. And anyway, but AmericanMinute.com is my website, and would love to be in touch with anyone.
Absolutely. Bill Federer, thank you so much, sir, for spending so much time with us and taking so much time to fully explain what it is. I mean, of course, I've read so many of your books and watched your videos. You could go on and on. I know this to be true.
Yeah, well, after World War I, the whole Muslim world became moderate. And you have pictures of women on the beach in Cairo, Egypt. It looks like Southern California and the Beach Boys.
So it
you have
can
pictures
change.
in Iran.
So it can
in Iran, there beauty pageants in Syria. Ataturk in Turkey outlawed the fezzes and the burqas, and he wanted to have a secular government, and it was all moving in this direction until 1928. The Muslim Brotherhood was started and started assassinating these leaders in the Muslim world if they got too friendly with the West. So it's the software problem of the jihadis, this Muslim Brotherhood. It's not the people.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir, for being on with us. Guys, go out, find him, AmericanMinute.com. Blessings, everyone. We'll be right back.
Does the world seem like it's just gone insane? I mean, bat crap, crazy, insane? I bet you think it does. Everybody seems to have lost their mind. Well, it's Christmas. I'm Eric Erickson. It's time to actually get up to 50,000 feet and look down to see the forest from the trees. What really matters? Why does it matter? And how can we process the insanity around us and use the Christmas story to do it? Listen Christmas Eve at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hi, this is Dave Barlow from Barlow Buick GMC in Woodbury, New Jersey. This holiday season, bring home a truck that delivers. The GMC Sierra delivers the power for the windy winter roads, delivers luxury with premium comfort, and delivers professional grade. At the Barlow Holiday Sales Event, you'll save on more than just the factory rebates. Visit Barlow Buick GMC in Woodbury or shop 24/7 at barlowautogroup.com. Buick, exceptional by design. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. This holiday season, give yourself a reason to smile and book your New Year appointment with Bentz Dental Group. Dr. Bentz is excited to welcome board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Emily Bentz to the team, bringing double the state-of-the-art prosthodontic care Bentz Dental Group is known for with Dr. Robert Bentz, Dr. Emily Bentz, and general dentist Dr. Sarah Bentz. All your dental needs are covered. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com or call 610-272-6949 from everyone at Bentz Dental Group. Happy holidays.
The headlines about Social Security are scary. What do you do if they cut back? Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Just like our offensive line protects our star quarterback, plumbers protect the health of the nation. And Philadelphia Plumbers Union Local 690 is no different. In hospitals, commercial, industrial, and residential, with the best trained plumbers in the world, you can be sure your project is done on time and on budget, no matter how big or small. So when your business needs to build new or expand existing facilities, you can count on the members of Plumbers Union Local 690. Visit plumbers690.org.
It's here. B101 has transformed into Philly's official Christmas station. Relax and unwind with your holiday favorites 24 hours a day, all the way through Christmas. Tell your smart speaker to play B101.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Woo! Guys, that was an earful from Bill Federer. I mean, telling you guys, I read all kinds of things. Like I said, I started off reading the Quran when I was in college, and there was one Muslim guy that I was friends with on college campus, and I ran to him with the Quran, and I was like, "You guys believe this?" And he was so kind and very patient and tolerant with me and all my questions. If you think I have questions now, you should have saw me back then.
College, Kathy.
I know. Oh my God, I was so irritating, but I had like a ton of questions because I'm just a very curious soul. And then I stumbled upon Bill Federer, and it really helped me kind of organize this wealth of information and this understanding. And when I hear people say, "Oh, Islam is a religion of peace. It's a mostly peaceful religion," I'm like, "Where are you? What book are you reading?"
Yeah, the history doesn't seem to line up there.
Even if you're not reading, look at history. The last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, the last couple of years, since maybe like especially in the past 12 years, yes, you see Islam playing out.
Oh, even since 9/11 or
On the
even
world
the
stage,
mid-90s.
yes,
you
right.
go
But
back for that.
people still like, you can't lump everyone in there, and it's like, how am I, as a human, as a thinking, rational American who's trying to be responsible for this thing we call freedom? How am I to understand what I'm looking at if I cannot compare and contrast? But what were your thoughts from the interview?
I felt like I should have been taking notes and all, because he just had like a stream of information that was just a whole bunch of knowledge that I didn't. Most of the stuff I wasn't familiar with. He did touch on a couple a couple things that we were talking about on the break. Is one, when he said Muhammad and the 300 versus
the 1,000.
Yeah, the 1,000. I thought that was kind of very much like the King Leonidas and the Battle of Thermopylae. I don't know if there was any like parallels or mythology there. But the other thing is was when you talking about the Muslims conquering Spain, and there's this movie that my dad is a big fan of called El Cid. We were actually watching it not too long ago, and it's Charlton Heston, Sophie Loren. It's about basically when he's this Christian warrior in the Crusades, and the Muslims come in and conquer Spain, and about that. So I wanted to actually like pick his brain on that and talk about it, because I mean, I'm sure he knows all about that. I'm sure he probably could have been like, the script writer for El Cid. So it was just just the information. I'm going to actually listen to the Broad Odyssey cast afterwards and just kind of like take notes on some of the things that he said, and
Please
reach out
do.
to him on Twitter, because he just had like a wealth of trove of information.
A wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a writer. If you want to get in touch with him,
Yeah,
let me know.
absolutely.
I will
So-
absolutely put you in touch with him, because I think this is, listen, I mean, I am used to being in the line of fire with people, right? I mean, before it became popular to say boys cannot become girls.
Yeah. Oh, I got
now,
that with the whole Leah Thomas thing. I was
it's so cool now. Everyone is like, "Oh, a boy can't be a
Yeah.
girl." I'm like, yeah, I
OGs
said
were
that.
not,
Like,
yeah.
where were you in 2020
Yeah, right.
when it was not popular to say, but children were being transitioned and genitals mutilated, and you were quiet, you know the truth, but you didn't want to say anything, or with the jabs or the open borders. And
The transgender stuff, you go back as far as 2015 and the National Convention that was in Philadelphia when they were talking about the bathrooms. Remember, it was like they were getting rid of they were putting the transgender
yeah, I remember
bathrooms,
that.
and
Do we
was
have a
big thing.
caller, or that JR? Okay, yeah. So, listen, guys, if you want to call in, if you have any questions or thoughts or comments, I will not shame you. I will not shut you down. I want to hear what you have to say. The number is 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. We're going to go to break, and we'll be back at the top of the hour. I will see you guys then. Woo! One more hour to go. I always walk into the, 3 hours, a radio show for 3 hours or 4 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to talk about for three? I don't know why I do that, because I am never shy or short on things to talk about.
And it's just time flies when you're having fun. So.
It does, or when you're in the company of good people.
Yeah,
So
there
thank
you
you
go.
so much, Chris Tremoya.
Two in a row. Look at that. We got to get an Italian Christmas song on the next ringing in to honor Kathy's recognition here.
Reporter and editor at Washington Examiner is sitting in with me as I sit in for Jimmy Fela. So, guys, we'll see you on the other side.
I have time to get a drink.
It will be a very fairish Christmas on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
'Tis the season to deport 'em. Fa la 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 la.
Starting at 6 a.m., Sean Farish with SD Palti.
Donald J. Trump, my obsession, the bane of my existence.
Mornings, 6 to 10 a.m. through Christmas Eve.
We love ice and we support 'em. Fa la 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 la.
From Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. I've been talking about myself for all these years. Now it's time for you to hear from one of our great clients.
Investor Schooling lives up to the promises. Larry's a great teacher, teaches about the whole new approach to thinking about money. I've taken to heart many of the things that he's taught me, and my financial life has improved.
Come to Investor Schooling, and you could be just like Charlie and change your financial life. Go to investorschooling.com. We will see you Thursday.
Tickets to Joe Conklin shows make great holiday gifts.
Hey, this is Ray Didinger. I had the opportunity to open the Joe Conklin show. It was sensational. It includes all the impressions, Iverson, Merrill and Mike, Barkley. He brought in the full orchestra. It's really good. His daughter Casey's part of it. His brother's part of it. They can rock it, boy. So you got all the music, plus you got all the comedy. It's a great night.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Broadway Theater in Pimmin, New Jersey, February 21st. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Oh! 5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With MaintainX, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving, not your paperwork. Join over 11,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try MaintainX for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain in the letter x.com/AI.
Gold is now over $4,300 an ounce. If you've got gold or silver just laying around, the States Roadshow wants it, and they are paying top dollar. Broken chains, old rings, coins, watches, diamonds, vintage jewelry. If it's valuable, they're buying it. Just walk in, get a free appraisal, and walk out with cash. The States Roadshow is happening Sunday through Tuesday in Chestnut Hill at the Chestnut Hill Hotel or in Cherry Hill at TMT Cash for Gold. Get cash for the holidays at estatesroadshow.com.
Download to see if you qualify for Albert Instant Advance. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription is required for Instant Advance. Please see the Albert app or albert.com for subscription pricing. Subscriptions can be canceled at any time.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? You can get up to a $1,000 advance fast to pay for car repairs, bills, rent, groceries, whatever you need. Plus, Albert can help you find ways to save and give you a custom budget to actually grow your money.
Albert can get me up to $1,000?
Exactly. But they do more than get you up to $1,000. Albert is your financial assistant, helping you budget, save, and spotting you money in a pinch.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code SAVE to get up to $1,000 for your bills, rent, groceries, and more. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code SAVE to get up to $1,000. Use code SAVE to get up to $1,000.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With MaintainX, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving, not your paperwork. Join over 11,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try MaintainX for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain in the letter x.com/AI.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Kathy Barnette on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Thinking about the threats to our freedom. In these gatherings across the country that TPUSA hosts, we often talk about the attacks on freedom that came from the Biden administration, how they sought to censor us in different ways, how they sought to spread disinformation to try to limit or control or curate what we saw and what we heard, how they lifted up certain voices and hushed others, reaching into their propaganda arms and compelling social media companies to do their dirty work for them. But there is a threat to our freedom that is not often talked about enough. And it is the greatest near and long-term threat to both our freedom and our security, and that is the threat of Islamist ideology. It is propagated by people who not only do not believe in freedom, their fundamental ideology is antithetical to the foundation that we find in our Constitution and Bill of Rights, which is that our Creator endowed upon us inalienable rights.
Yeah, that was our D&I director, Tulsi Gabbard, speaking at Turning Point USA and saying what we've been talking about. Islam, she said it, Islam is our nation's #1 threat. Not China, not tariffs, not taxes, not Russia, not Ukraine, Islam. And we just had Bill Federer on, kind of giving the history of Islam. And now I have online with me my really good friend, I love him, J.R. McGee. Hey, J.R., how are you?
Kathy, it's a pleasure to be with you and your audience tonight. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas, my friend. You're in Alabama still, right?
I am. I'm very close to your hometown and my hometown.
My neck of the woods down there. Okay, guys, JR is currently the founder and CEO of the Extreme Leadership Group and Extreme Training Services. He provides executive coaching, leadership development training, strategy development, and is a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt with more than 1,000 business improvement projects completed. As program manager at Top Gun Ranges Worldwide, he specializes in operations, training, development of fighter pilots, special forces, combat field engineering, and providing operational support to intelligence and counter-terrorism operations around the world. And I could literally go on and on and on. He was one of my senior advisors on my senatorial campaign, and just, I mean, the man is brilliant. And so, JR, thank you so much. You heard what DNI Secretary Tulsi Gabbard had to say about Islam being incompatible with American values, and that Islam is our nation's #1 threat. What say you?
I think that's exactly right. In fact, there's two aspects of Islam that most Americans simply don't understand. There's the religious aspect of Islam, but equally as important, there's the political aspect of Islam. Islam is actually a form of government more than a form of religion. It forms the basis for how an Islamic society operates, how it controls itself, how it polices itself, and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And that is completely incompatible with the values of most of the West, and especially the United States. That's exactly why Islam refers to Israel as the little Satan and refers to the United States as the great Satan, because America founds itself and values intensely freedom and liberty. And Islam means submission, which is antithetical to submission. So it puts us at great odds politically and governmentally with the foundational principles of Islam, and they find that intolerable. That is why we're considered infidels and the great Satan.
But they've been here forever. I mean, our founding fathers write about their interactions with Islam. Why is Islam now the greatest threat to America?
Well, because Islam has grown exponentially. The number of participants and adherents to Islam is growing faster than any other religion, any other society in the world anywhere. They're growing incredibly rapidly, and they have a philosophy of promulgation into other countries by going in and replacing the people who are there. Eventually, they become a significant proportion of the population, and they begin to vote. And then after they reach about 10 to 15%, they begin to win elections. And after they get 15 to 25% of the vote, they begin to control the culture and pass laws, and then they implement Sharia. And before you know it, they are the dominant factor in that country, and they never look back. That's exactly how they have dominated and moved into every other country for the last 600 years. It's a strategy that's been extremely successful for Islam, and they're using it right now in France. They're using it in Germany. They're using it in England. They have been using it in the Netherlands, but the Netherlands is pushing back somewhat. But this is exactly what's going on. And you can even look at America, places like Minneapolis, Detroit, some areas of New York. You can look at how they're beginning to do this. We just saw an Islamic mayor of New York. We've seen Islamic mayors in Detroit. And as they do that, they begin to implement their policies and their philosophies. You don't have to go any further than to look in Minnesota. They've now implemented the call prayer 5 times a day. They changed the law. They changed the noise ordinances to allow the Islamic call for prayer. They've implemented halal laws, which are the dietary laws, to where some foods that we're familiar with are no longer allowed to be served, and everything must be halal. Where they achieve a percentage of the population, they're going to implement their culture and their philosophy. They're not interested in assimilation, Kathy. They're interested in domination.
But what's so wrong with a healthy diet? Not having pork in your diet. What's wrong with the music? What did Obama say? There was nothing so sweet as to hearing the Muslim calls to prayer. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it was something to that. I'm like, what's so wrong with that? It's just people praying.
There's not a thing in the world wrong with that, Kathy. I've spent most of my life now. I've worked in 59 different countries, and I find great value in diversity. I find great value in learning and understanding cultures from people all over the world. I not only value that, I enjoy that. The problem comes in where one group of individuals wants to impose their will on another group of people by force. I believe as long as you're allowed to choose what you want to eat, there's not a thing in the world in terms of you believing that you want to have this for your body, for your family. But I believe I should be allowed to choose what I want for my body and my family. And as long as that choice is protected, I think there is incredible value in diversity and understanding different peoples, different philosophies, different groups. It's where that choice becomes impaired that we see that the problem begins to develop. Like I said earlier, in America, we value freedom and liberty and choice, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of religion. that's exactly what we value, that freedom to choose. And when one group of people says, we're no longer going to allow you to choose, we're going to choose for you, I see that as a problem.
Hi, Jerry. I wanted to jump in here for a second as well. A question I had for you is, you mentioned how you appreciate diversity, and would you say that what's going on in these communities and in these countries in which Islam is building slowly building towards a majority force, is that they're using the vulnerabilities of diversity the ideological tenets behind left wing political thought of diversity to not be diverse themselves. They're basically kind of using diversity to get rid of diversity. Would that seem like to be accurate?
That is exactly correct. They use our philosophies, they use our laws, they use our charitable nature, and they use our goodwill against us. They view that as weakness. They view the fact that if you can't defend yourself, if you can't defend your property, you don't deserve to keep it. If you can't defend your religion, you don't deserve to keep it. If you can't defend your beliefs, you don't deserve to be able to do them. And you only have to look at what happens when Islam becomes the dominant member of any society. It becomes Islamic. It doesn't become multicultural. It doesn't become pluralistic. It becomes Islam, and it becomes affiliated with Sharia law, which is an absolute law. And if it was any different, I might feel different. But history has shown us that the moment that they achieve dominance, they impose their beliefs, their will, on other people that they don't believe is strong enough to protect themselves or protect their beliefs. And that's exactly the opposite of what most liberals claim that they believe in. That's the opposite of what most Americans believe and want to deal with. We value our tolerance. We value our belief in inclusivity, and we're willing to go to great lengths to help other people. And in some places in the world, that's viewed as a great weakness. We view it as a great strength. And unfortunately, that strength is being used against us.
So, and it's somewhat Orwellian in nature, insofar as that it's like kind of like if you the book Animal Farm, when they come up and they preach tolerance, and then they basically kind of impose their own force and will to be anything but tolerant. So it seems like that's kind of a lot what's going on around the world with the Muslims and Islam. That'd be correct.
That's exactly right. And by the moment you realize what's going on, it is too late, and you've lost that ability to pass laws yourself. It's a case of recognizing too little, too late, because we want to believe the good in everybody. We want to believe that everyone in the world thinks like we do. We want to believe that people of all natures and all cultures in the world simply want to raise their children to be better than they were and to give them the best in life. And that's simply not the case. As I've moved around the world and worked in many different countries, the one thing that has impressed me and that has been absolutely unremarkable in its differences is that different cultures think differently than Americans. Americans think differently than almost every other culture on the planet. And if you've never left the United States, if you've never really been exposed to another culture, it's easy to believe that they think and act like we do. That's because that's what we want to believe. But the truth is anything but. I lived in Europe. I've spent a lot of my life in the Middle East. I've been, like I said, all over the world. And I love the diversity that I find. I love the fact that being in new places opens my mind and exposes me to things that I wouldn't have thought about, that I wouldn't have experienced, that I wouldn't have known otherwise. But it is also remarkable to me how differently people think. And by that, I mean what they value and what they tolerate and what they don't tolerate. It's completely different than what we think and how we've grown up and what we've been led to believe.
Absolutely. And with that, being that there's, it's you common knowledge, you travel, you have these experiences, you see what's going on, You see how cultures differ. There's also centuries worth of history of the extreme things that Muslims have done when they conquered Europe. They conquered the previous guest we had on. He talked about briefly when Muslims conquered Spain. Being that there is this documented history of what happens, why do we keep on making the same mistake?
Because we want to believe the best in people. Americans, this is something I love about Americans. We want to be the best we can be, and we want to believe the best in everybody. We want to believe that everybody just wants a shot. Everybody just wants a chance, and everybody thinks and acts altruistically until proven otherwise. We want to believe the good in everybody. And in other places around the world, they're incredibly suspicious of other people. I'll give you an example. If you go to Russia today, the Russian people, having lived under the Iron Curtain and under communism for so long, have learned to be incredibly suspicious of almost everybody. It's integrated into how they think and how they act. Bulgaria, Romania, they still have these vestiges where people do not trust strangers at all, because strangers, up until very recently, were part of the government trying to catch you doing something wrong. The Americans, on the other hand, we've always been led to believe that you treat everybody as an equal, you treat everybody with respect, you treat people with dignity when you first meet them. And that is pretty much completely the opposite for almost everywhere else you go in the world. People will like you and respect you after they get to know you and after you prove that you deserve respect. In America, we give you respect until you prove that you don't deserve it.
Because we see in America that each person has been endowed with value and worth and have the spark of God in them. And so that's how we approach people, or at least that is the aspiration, that we see
Absolutely.
people from that perspective. But you're right. I've been in the military myself. I've traveled a large portion of the world, and going into places that, aren't very kind to, toward the idea of freedom. And that was very interesting as a 17, 18-year-old girl traveling the world in the military and beginning to notice these differences. But you're absolutely right. I want to pivot real quick to Venezuela. I mean, I hear little spats about it. We just blew up a ship and this happened, or a boat, and then that happened. I mean, are we at war with Maduro? Or is war imminent? Like, what is going on there?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. We're not at war with Venezuela. What we are is engaged in trying to protect the people of the United States from an existential threat of drugs, and we have lost more people to fentanyl and illegal drugs than we lost in World War II, that we've lost in Vietnam, that we lost in Korea, that we've lost in all the other wars, not to mention the number of people that we lost in 9/11. And to have that happen and people simply brush it off as if it was nothing shocks me. The drugs are being manufactured in China. The precursors are manufactured in China. They're moved into Venezuela and parts of Mexico to be manufactured. And from Venezuela in particular, they're moved into the United States. Now, they were being moved through Mexico, but we've shut down the southern border, which means that Venezuela picked up the efforts to move those drugs by ocean through the Gulf of America and through the Pacific into the borders outside of where the Border Patrol and ICE are normally working. And that has been very effective up until just recently. Now, one thing I will say, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, that we're just arbitrarily blowing up boats that might have fishermen in them. As somebody who spent most of his life in the intelligence community, we have people on the ground. We have assets that are monitoring this electronically. We've got satellites. The intelligence community knows precisely where the drugs are coming from, how they're getting to the ports, who's loading them onto these boats, what precisely is being loaded on the boat, who's driving the boats, where the boats are being refueled in the middle of the ocean so that they can make the trip. You know, most of these go-fast boats don't have the fuel capacity to make the entire trip just on internal fuel. They've got to be refueled.
Right.
We know exactly who's doing this, and every one of these missions is monitored by JAG officers. JAG stands for Judge Advocate Office legal teams. These are military lawyers that are standing right beside the mission commander in real time and judging and adjudicating whether or not what's being done is legal and according to the rules of engagement. Everything about this is being done very legally. It's being meticulous, and we're going after the right people who are bad people.
I thank you so much, JR. And Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Merry
And tell
Christmas,
your
JR.
wife I said Merry Christmas.
You got it. Take care. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, guys, and God bless.
Yes, God bless. Okay, guys, you are listening to Kathy Barnette. Wow! The last hour is almost up.
Right.
Guys, if you're going to call, I guess you would have called by now. But here's the number, 855-839-1210. I guess it's not a show that people generally call in, but I'll see y'all on the other side.
Experience ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T&Cs apply.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
June Rodriguez, a longtime DJ at Bob and Barbara's Lounge, has been identified as the cyclist killed in a hit-and-run in Overbrook on Saturday. A litter of 8 newborn puppies was found abandoned in a shopping bag in a South Philly Target parking lot. And a big Powerball drawing tonight. The jackpot is for $1.6 billion.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more. Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-352-9239. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-352-9239. 800-352-9239 or biglou.com.
Great news from Norristown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Sign and Drive is back. No down payment needed. Save it for presents. Your present should be a new Jeep Wrangler Sport S for only $299 a month. $299. Sign and Drive. NorristownCDJR.com. Just minutes from the King of Prussia Mall. Check out our online reviews. They're great. No fast talk here. 36 months, 7,500 miles per year includes loyalty while supplies last. Zero do-it signing. $477 doc fee, tax and license additional. Ends 1/2/26.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
And so many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Oh man, I'm not insured. Wait, I'll get insurance and report the claim later.
Lying to an insurance company about your auto accident is insurance fraud, a felony, and you will get caught. Over the last 5 years, Pennsylvania's insurance fraud investigators made 2,200 arrests, collecting more than $15 million in restitution, fines, and court costs. Suspicious claims get investigated and prosecuted. Visit helpstopfraud.org.
Sponsored by the Pennsylvania Insurance Fraud Prevention Authority.
You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Trouble. Did I get into some trouble tonight? I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Because I recognize a long time ago is that either we stand for something or we will fall for anything. And most of you know my story. I have the blood of slaves coursing through my veins. I know my history as a Black person growing up on a pig farm in southern Alabama, growing up in a home with no insulation, no running water, an outhouse in the back, a well on the side. I mean, we were poor. But no one ever called me a victim. No one ever looked at me and said, Kathy, hang it up, kid. You're Black, you're a woman, you're poor. 3 strikes, you're out. No one ever said that to me. Instead, I saw my family wake up early, work hard, trying to take care of us. You know, I remember if we wanted beans or peas, we had to grow them. And I remember working in our little garden on the side of the house with my grandmother. I mean, wow. These people, you know, they had it hard, and yet they loved us, and they worked hard for us so that we could have an opportunity at a little bit better of a life than they had. And I'm so grateful to God that my husband and I have been able to carry that forward and to give the next generation of those amazing people who raised me a little bit better of a life than what I have. That is America. I don't think my story could have existed anywhere else to have grown up below the bottom rung, under the rock, and be able to create a respectable life for myself. That story takes place here in America, and it has truly fueled such a deep passion and gratitude and appreciation for this amazing nation and for the men and women, Black and white, who sacrificed so much to make sure that I was able to inherit this country. And now we're looking at what the next generation is about to inherit. And let me tell you, if I had to grade us, it would be an epic fail. Of what I was handed as a child and what we are now handing to the next generation. It's an epic fail, and it's on our watch. And, you know, on our side of the political aisle, we love quoting our founding fathers, but guess what? They're dead. They're not here. They did what they were supposed to do while it was on their watch to do it, and they created an amazing nation with an amazing foundation. And this generation that did not have to really fight and struggle for freedom and for luxuries, we have been asleep at the wheel.
Absolutely.
And I think it's time to wake up. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of that has to do with this, I guess you would say, thirst for power coming from within our own country, within our own politicians
On both sides of the aisle.
on both sides. But I think, at least on the Democrat side, or at least on the Republican side, I think there's, I mean, I align with Democrats, so I'm going to obviously not be objective in that assessment and I think they're better. But coming from the left, I think there's just a intent to demonize and vilify, and like everything that you just said there, liberals, Democrats, and others on the left wouldn't. They would disagree with you. They would say you're a victim. They would say you're, a victim of all these horrible things that they constantly read up. They would diminish the powerful experiment that is the United States of America. And I think that's something that we say here among ourselves, but I think people need to realize, and at one point they did talk about this at America Fest, not necessarily this past weekend, but and it goes along to lines with like just different political messaging, kind of censorship or like altering narratives. One thing I wanted to touch on when JR was talking was about Venezuela, and we've heard the narrative now. Democrats, for all of a sudden, are bashing the initiative, the Operation Southern Spear. They're saying it's like a violation of rights, abuses. They care more about drug dealers, drug cartels trying to poison Americans and kill Americans than they actually do Americans themselves. I mean, if you look at a week ago when they were talking about this double tap video that's in the controversy, the news now, you had Democrats, Chris Coons, come out and was like about to weep when he said he saw the footage of what's going on. Other Democrats,
And the footage you're talking about, the ships being the Venezuelan boats being
the
blown
one that
up
was on
by
December 2nd, the double
right.
tap. So,
Mhm.
and then Adam Smith, who's the head of one of the House committees, he echoed similar sentiments. Both of these people, both of these senators, these people who prioritize the American citizens, voted against illegal immigration reform such as the Lake and Riley Act. They're, like I said, they're having theatrical, like hyperventilations about drug dealers in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean who are trying to cause harm to American citizens, but yet they don't really care about American citizens. Another thing that's going on with this Venezuela is that's kind of just been completely ignored is it was kind of the policy of the United States to support regime change in Venezuela before President Trump. Everyone knows now within the past couple months President Trump's initiatives, but the election on July 28th, 2024 in Venezuela, when Nicolas Maduro beat Edmundo Gonzalez, the Biden administration said that election was fraudulent and they weren't going to recognize, and they figured, and they issued numerous State Department statements, and I have one here in which they said they stand ready to support a return to democracy in Venezuela. That President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia, I'm probably pronouncing that last name wrong, should be sworn in and a democratic transition should begin. So even before that's been going on now, the Democrats who are constantly talking about, why we need to fight for democracy and all those things, abandoned democracy when it came to Venezuela. And I think one of the things that needs to be reinforced and repeated is that the Trump administration is basically trying to bring democracy to Venezuela, trying to right the wrong and the oppression that was going on by the Maduro regime, because we've kind of like lost a little bit sight of that. And I guess in a way that's somewhat understandable given the narcotics that were kind of being shipped in illegally and whatnot and blowing up the suspected drug boats. But there is also a gross, egregious violation of democracy that did happen in Venezuela that the people just kind of ignored and let go throughout the international community. So I think that's something, when we're talking about these things of, messaging and why people think differently, a lot of it has to do with left-wing messaging in the United States population. I believe that's kind of like running cultures astray and veering to like not the things that we should be talking about and mixing up messaging for their own political gain.
There's a lot of things we should be talking about. I'm not for America getting involved in the affairs of Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
I am very interested in stopping the drugs leaving Venezuela coming into America, right? I'm not interested in America getting involved in other
Oh, sure.
countries'
Yeah,
politics,
regime
right?
change or
Like,
anything.
right, a regime. I'm not interested
I
in
wholeheartedly
any
agree
of
with
that.
you.
But I am very interested in making sure that, I mean, 100,000 people at one point, it has grown, it has increased over the years. But in 2022, I remember 100,000 people they were saying were dying just mainly from fentanyl poisoning. And when I was on the road with Vivek Ramaswamy traveling the nation, we often talked to parents who would tell their stories about their children, who were being poisoned. Yes, they were on drugs, and no, drugs are not good. But they weren't taking the drugs to be poisoned. They were being poisoned with fentanyl being added, and fentanyl coming from China, the precursors for it being cooked up in the manufacturing facilities in Mexico. And JR made a really great point. Now that for the past 7 months, we've had 0 people being released into our country from the Mexican border. Now they're like, the dealers are like, okay, well, where else can we send them? Well, we can't get them through the border any longer because now Donald Trump has secured it. Oh, we would use Venezuela and allow them to just to sail them in, to boat them right in. And so Donald Trump is like, no, that's not going to happen either.
And that's
So I am good for that.
and it's also important in Philadelphia area. I mean, like,
Yeah.
with Kensington, and
Oh,
there was like
Kensington.
the
My
opioid crisis that
goodness.
was going on there. That was like what they call it, the
Woo!
eastern hub of like.
Have you been to Kensington
Probably
lately?
not for past year or so.
Okay, yeah, I
Not
haven't
just
been in
avoidant, but just haven't been there.
2024. I took Vivek into
Right.
Kensington,
Yes.
and I mean, oh my goodness, right?
Yeah.
Like open air drug market, the prostitution going on, the the open drug dealing. I mean, hopscotching over needles so you don't get stuck. I mean, just Camp City everywhere. People
just
you can
walking,
see
like,
their
stoned. They
bones.
were
You can
zombies.
like
Yeah.
zombies, like just
It
tranked
was
out.
scary. Yeah.
I mean, and then the crime, and then you have that, I don't know what train that is
Yeah, the
overhead.
Frankfurt L.
The
Yeah.
L train. Oh my goodness. The noise, the chaos, the drama. Everywhere you look, it was like, my God. And Vivek, being Hindu, born and raised here in America, but he has spent a lot of time in India with his family. And he's like, this Kensington is worse than many third world parts of the world that I've been in. And it is. And you go and you're like, how in the world have we
In the
allowed
United
this
States,
to
how does it
happen?
happen? Yeah, it's crazy that I mean, you look at these.
And it's in Kensington. It's not like it's like way out in Timbuktu somewhere. It's in Kensington.
And it's been known how horrible the conditions have gotten in Kensington for years. It's not like this happened just in 2024. It's been known as, I think it's like the biggest eastern hub for like opioid, like something like that.
Horrible.
It's been
Horrible.
going on, and like you said, this isn't a third world country. This isn't even a third world. It's like it's Philadelphia, the founding of the country, and this is what we got
It's
turning
horrible.
into,
Let me tell you, I had a
horrible.
headache for like 2 weeks because I was unintentionally holding my breath.
Right.
Because
Can
like
imagine.
out of fear and
Yeah, you wanna
anxiety and like
inhale
stress.
any, like germs or like,
Well, the smell, but really it was the fear that
Right.
just grips you because something could pop off here. You go, it's all these one-way streets and you're trying to drive and then you go down the wrong road and now you got to keep going
Right.
deeper and deeper into the matrix and into the void, and you see all kinds of stuff going on, right? That you're not supposed to be around here looking at this. And that's here in our backyard. And then you have people like, Josh Shapiro signing the Hair Crown Act,
Yes.
the Crown
Right.
Act,
Yes, the big
to get rid of hair racism.
the issue of our time.
I mean, I've been black all my life, and I never heard of hair racism until just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, what? But listen, guys, I got to take a break. We will be right back in a few moments. Wow, time really flies.
It does. I forgot we were
This season, Bucks County Estate Traders wants to say thank you for welcoming them into your homes and letting their one-of-a-kind pieces become part of your year. From timeless dining sets to the perfect accent piece, they're proud to help turn a house into a home. Discover the distinctive piece that completes any room and makes your home feel just right. Enjoy a comfortable shopping experience while exploring their showroom featuring over 16,000 pieces. Visit their Hatfield showroom, visit BucksCountyEstateTraders.com, open 7 days a week.
The working families of La Una Labor District Council of Pennsylvania, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia are proud contributors to all aspects of growth in this great city. The Labor District Council provides safe, well-trained, productive workers who enable projects to be done on time and under budget. We appreciate our signatory contractors and their commitment to fairness and equality. Laborers, we're building a better future today.
Brought to you by the Laborers District Council Licit Fund.
Horizon Plumbing and Electrical knows that if your old water heater conks out from Aunt Gail's 2-hour showers this holiday season, or your decorations keep tripping the breakers, well, then everything falls apart. That's why you can count on Horizon this season for 0% interest financing on installs, plus a plumbing or electrical inspection for just $99, so we can address any clogs or hums ahead of time. And as always, we're here to help with same-day emergency service, even on holidays. Book today at horizonservices.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
B101 is spreading holiday cheer throughout Philly. Tune in for the soundtrack to your Christmas season, featuring all the holiday songs you love. Christmas music all day, every day, only on B101, Philly's official Christmas station.
Got any gadgets? Get online protection. NordVPN has a ho-ho holiday deal just for you. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you avoid malware, phishing, and annoying trackers. Just a few taps and you're safer online. Let your gadgets sparkle with online security. Go to NordVPN.com and get up to 77% off plus 3 extra months. NordVPN.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
Congratulations to Bradford White Corporation, honored as the 2025 Employer of the Year by West Michigan Works for their commitment to growing careers in manufacturing. Visit BradfordWhiteCorporation.com to learn more.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-848-2299. 800-848-2299. Again, that's 800-848-2299.
Calling on Huntington Valley to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it today.
Trouble. Yes, we gotta. I'm gonna get in trouble now. Get in trouble tomorrow. And if I get in trouble for speaking truth, I mean, basically, I don't care what these people have to say about me. Let me tell you something. It is nothing like being dragged across the nation, being lied on to make you harden towards foolishness and to make you not care what people have to say about you or think about you, but that I am comfortable with me. So, yeah. But what were you going to say?
No, I didn't have anything. So you got me on that one. So
okay, let's
we were talking
recap.
about the Crown Act. We were going to talk about. That's what.
You know what? Listen, guys. I have beat that Crown Act.
You knocked the crown off the Crown Act.
I've knocked the crown off the Crown Act. I mean, what a stupid waste of energy and time. Something that impacts less than 1,000 people filed a complaint regarding hair racism.
And what I didn't understand is, like, how does one determine they were discriminated because of their hair?
Completely subjective.
Right? Because if you're, obviously the narrative was, if you're a black person, you have a certain style of hair and people don't like it, it's racism. But is it racism, or is it just like you have your hair, it kind of looks unsightly and unprofessional and you don't want that in the workplace? Similar to if you were someone who has like a white person who was like a Viking heritage and your hair had like this big natural, flowing.
Doesn't matter.
Would you be able to say it was discrimination
Listen,
if they said,
it goes against your heritage? Why not?
Yeah,
right?
I guess nowadays.
I mean, right? I mean, but the point of the matter is that I'm a business owner and I'm taking all the risks. Right?
I think that's what they don't understand.
I'm taking all the risk. I'm taking the financial risk, the reputational risk. I'm staying up late. I'm putting in a lot of sweat equity trying to get this thing running. And in my mind, I have a particular image of how my customers are going to be greeted, right? And maybe I don't want, and maybe I have a certain look in mind. And maybe you don't fit that look. Or maybe it has nothing to do with your look. Maybe it's just I didn't vibe with you as much as I vibe with the person who came after you, right? But I, as the one who's taking all the risk, should be able to ultimately decide. Now, if someone is being, overt, then I guess, but
that doesn't seem to be what the real issue was here.
But the reality is, if you really want to wear your hair the way you want to wear your hair, then my advice to you is to go open up your own business.
Exactly.
And then you can wear your hair however you want to wear your hair. But when you come into corporate America or you come into an environment outside of your own environment, you're going to have to conform, people.
Exactly. And it's like the Yankees. For the longest time, you couldn't have any facial hair, any beard. Was that discrimination? No, it was just what George Steinbrenner wanted his players. I mean, now it possibly could have been, who knows? But it's just, there were things like that where you couldn't have a police academy. Like, you couldn't have facial hair be like certain along.
If you want to be an individual, then you need to either be a hermit and live in your own little bubble, or you need to go start your own business and become a billionaire, completely self-contained, and you could do whatever you want to do. But other than that, it's called you have to conform.
Exactly. And this coddling that goes on now.
The coddling
is absurd and ridiculous.
I
think it's got to stop.
And then I was on this interview with Malcolm Kenyatta. You guys can go to Kathy for Truth on YouTube. And I kept asking him because he was like, I was so proud. I was so proud it took me 0 seconds to decide to press that button to vote for this bill, right? It took me 0 seconds. And I'm like, but Kenyatta, you represent a district where your school system ranks, I can't remember now, but 900 and I can't remember the exact number, but 494 out of 499 school districts.
Yeah.
I think that's a better use of your time.
Priorities.
Priorities. We only have so much energy.
Right.
We only have so much oxygen in the room, so much attention span. And you spend your time, your energy,
talking about
your resources
nonsense.
to pass a bill that impacts less than 1,000 people in the state of Pennsylvania. There are 14 million Pennsylvanians. This bill, there were 916 people who filed a complaint in 2022. So 916 people divided by the 14 million people, that impacts less than 0.00007%.
Right.
And that's where you want me to get all up? No.
But that's what I was talking about
It's ridiculous.
before, is like when the left tries to take and diminish the American system and the American experiment. It's stuff like this. They create like the oppression Olympics. And now we have a new event, the hair oppression Olympics.
The hair oppression. But you know what? I am an equal opportunity offender. If you are doing something crazy, you're probably going to get offended. Because I have zero tolerance. I cannot suffer fools, biblical fools. I have zero tolerance for it. When you grow up under the situation, the scenario in which I grew up under, you have zero margin.
Problems,
Yeah, you have zero margin for foolishness. You have zero margin for error. Any wobble to the left or to the right, I'm going to fall off the cliff completely.
Exactly.
Right? I had to walk a very fine line to get myself off a pig farm.
Real problems, real issues, real
growing up
situations.
in a home with no insulation, an outhouse and a well on this. I had to walk a very fine. I didn't have a lot of room, a lot of margin to just focus on foolishness. And so that has trained me as an adult, my children, poor babies. But it is like, mommy has zero tolerance for that, right?
And Kenyatta would ask what your hair was like back then when you were going through all that stuff, right? It's just like,
oh my God!
Shapiro would do the same thing. That's what they would be worrying about.
Kathy, but how was your hair?
Right, exactly.
Did people discriminate against you?
Yes.
I'm growing up
Were you the
in
victim,
deep southern Alabama.
Right.
My hair was the least of my concerns of people discriminating against me for.
Oh,
okay, so, but like I said, I am an equal opportunity offender. I will offend you if there's foolishness. And so I can talk about the left all night, but I can also talk about the right.
Absolutely.
And right now, I think our number one issue outside, I'm not talking about Islam, but our number one issue in the Republican Party, I'm not even talking about the Republican Party. Our number one issue in MAGA, our number one issue in the conservative movement, which saved America. Conservatives saved America. Because while everyone else was bending over backwards to take the jab, to shut down businesses, to shut down schools, to shut down churches, COVID was trumping the Constitution. Conservatives held the line and said, not on my watch, right? So while everybody else in the nation was doubling over, trying to just give away all of our rights because, oh my goodness, COVID. Conservatives said, no, COVID does not trump the Constitution. You will not force me to wear it. I stopped wearing the mask. I started going, I was looking for a fight. I was like, I'm not doing it.
I was actually talking to my stepmom about this today. You notice how it's winter? Remember a couple years ago, the winter of death was going to happen because of COVID? And I think even last year
no
they
one
talked
died
about
from car accidents and cancer.
But it was just like how serious COVID was. And last year, I think they talked about like, oh, it's going to winter, it's going to resurgence. Has anyone brought up COVID at all this winter?
I'm so over it.
Is it even discussed? Is it a thing? Like, it's just did it just vanish? I mean, what happened to
But my
the
point
severity of it?
is, conservatives, MAGA, the most we toppled a political system.
Yes, you did.
To vote Donald Trump in 3 times. We did that. And I guess it was naive of us to think we can continue to be pure and focused, right? And so they could not divide us from without. So now they brought in all of these slithering snakes. And now they're on the inside trying to tell me what it means to be MAGA, what it means to be America first, trying to tell me what our values are as conservatives, right? And they're sucking the energy. You said earlier you don't think it's a war or a splintering. I don't know if it's a splintering, but they are absolutely, I don't know if it's a rough patch. They are absolutely sucking the energy. I think we have like 30 seconds. What do you want to say?
So we were talking about my dad earlier, and he texted me during the show. He said, talking about what was going on in the conservative movement and splintering. He goes, the conservatives are fighting over the keys to the kingdom while the barbarians are at the gates. And I think it's a perfect summary.
I want to open the door. Right. I want to lock the door. No, you lock the door. I want to lock the door. I want to be the one who locked the door.
Yeah, I want to. So that's just.
And the barbarians are at the door.
I think that's
about to, with their hand on the doorknob, getting ready to twist it and walk in.
Shout out to my dad there on that one, Michael Tremolia. So,
yay, Michael! Thank you so much for the cannolis. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Always a blast. Always a blast, and good conversation all around and information.
As always. Okay, guys, blessings. Find me, Kathy for Truth, everywhere. Go to YouTube, subscribe, follow me for more of this conversation. Blessings.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. This holiday season, give yourself a reason to smile and book your New Year appointment with Bent's Dental Group. Dr. Bent's is excited to welcome board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Emily